6 o'clock news. Good morning. I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Need a crash repairer you can trust? FIVEAA Panel Services delivers expert care to you and your vehicle.
At least 2 additional members of the Iranian soccer team are understood to be seeking asylum in Australia. 5 women were yesterday granted humanitarian visas, allowing them to stay here instead of returning to the conflict zone. The remaining players have now left the country, beginning their journey back to Iran. Footage on social media showing an AFP officer telling supporters at Sydney Airport 2 of the players had decided to stay.
2, yes, what you know from what I know and what you know. Yeah. There's 2. That's it. Plane's about to depart.
The United States is warning today it will be the most intense phase of the strikes targeting Iran so far. The US Secretary of War declaring more fighters and more bombers are in action. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt is defending US President Donald Trump's claim Iran or someone else may have fired the Tomahawk missile, which hit a girls' school in Iran early in the operation.
As the president said yesterday, he will accept the conclusion of this investigation by the Department of War. I know there's been a lot of speculation in the media about who may be responsible for this. We're not going to get ahead of the Department of War and the conclusion of that investigation.
Meantime, the price of crude oil has dropped sharply on the back of suggestions the US had escorted an oil tanker through the Strait of Hormuz. Brent crude dipped from $94 to $82 a barrel. In a since-deleted social media post, the US Energy Secretary claiming the US Navy had successfully escorted a tanker through the crucial shipping corridor. Unleaded 91 in Adelaide, mostly at $2.19 across the metro area. The Costco at Kilburn and the Yugo at Welland still under $2 a litre. National Senator Matt Canavan has put his hand up to lead the party in the wake of David Littleproud's resignation. Party members will vote on Mr Littleproud's replacement later in the week. Current Deputy Kevin Hogan also in the contest. It's rare but not impossible for a senator to lead a political party. National Senator Ross Cadell says they need the best people doing the big jobs.
And it doesn't matter where you come from. If you can represent the views of Forgotten Australia, regional Australia, the people that do things with their hands, the making jobs. AI is going to take so many city jobs. It is these regional jobs that grow, make, care, produce, mine that are the future. And we need someone that stands up for them.
The Reserve Bank could hit mortgage holders with another interest rate rise next week as the Middle East conflict continues. The institution's deputy governor warns the surge in oil prices off the war in Iran poses substantial inflation risk. More than 100,000 New Zealanders have taken up Australian citizenship since 2024. More from Gabriel Hodson.
The collective noun for a group of Kiwis is a tribe, and one the size of Albury-Wodonga has scored itself the right to Aussie passports in the last 2 years. News Corp has credited the federal government's fast-track citizenship changes, which allow New Zealanders to skip permanent residency and apply directly. When the program was set up, it was estimated there were around 350,000 eligible Kiwis living and working in Australia. At the last census, well over 500,000 New Zealand-born people were here, a jump of 10% in 10 years.
Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Get to Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes for the Outlander ES. Drive away from just $39,990.
Good morning, Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Maddie. We're going to start with some basketball. A dream start for the Adelaide 36ers in their semi-final playoff series against the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, winning at home last night 104-97. Bryce Cotton proved why he was again voted the MVP with a game-high 42 points as the Sixers took a 1-0 series lead in their best-of-3 series. Southeast Melbourne's coach, Josh King, though, is trying to stay positive.
We scored 97 points. We'll figure some things out. We had 21 offensive rebounds. I think the game was on our terms. We just didn't do enough to get the win.
Game 2 will be played in Melbourne on Saturday. To football now, Brisbane's defensive stocks have suffered a massive hit with the tribunal upholding bans for Harris Andrews and Darcy Gardner. Andrews will miss the next 3 weeks after failing to overturn a rough conduct charge that left Bulldog Artie Jones suspended from an errant shepherd, while Gardner misses Saturday's clash with Sydney after receiving a one-match ban for striking. Elsewhere, golfers will get another chance to have a look at the course at Kooyonga this morning ahead of the Women's Australian Open, which begins tomorrow. There hasn't been an Aussie winner since 2014 with Curry Webb, but Minjee Lee and Hannah Green are among the favourites to take it out this year. And in some soccer, there's round of 16 Champions League action on again this morning. A host of teams are playing. Liverpool, though, currently 1-0 down against Galatasaray deep in stoppage time. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now 5AA's forecast.
Stuck in traffic? Road trip differently in the Northern Territory. northernterritory.com/drive.
Partly cloudy 26, cloudy and 23 tomorrow, sunny and 24 on Friday, 29 over the weekend. Right now it's 21. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the Lynn Andrews team have made it easy for landlords to manage residential and commercial property. From single homes to multiple commercial holdings, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge. How to do it safely and properly, matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
There are many reasons why Steinborner Automotive is well worth the trip, with over 400 cars in stock across 10 yards in Gawler, Barossa and Clare, including SA's best range of certified used vehicles, from passenger cars to SUVs and commercial vehicles, plus a huge range of ex-factory demo Ford, Mitsubishi, Hyundai and Mazda, along with outstanding service from our award-winning staff. You know it's well worth the trip to Steinborner Automotive. View our whole range at steinborner.com.au.
Another big headline for the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. The bonus deadline is this Friday.
Buy your tickets now to enter the bonus draw for the Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon worth over $250,000.
And you don't need to choose. You can win a brand new driveway too. You'll stay in the draw for the $4 million grand prize at Henley Beach South. Explore the home now at homelottery.com.au.
Plus, it's guaranteed as a win for your community, supporting life-changing healthcare right here in SA for South Australians like you.
So the bonus prize deadline is this Friday. Life-changing prizes, life-changing impact. Get your tickets now at homelottery.com.au.
Car battery nearly dead or left you stranded? Call Batteries Direct and they'll come to you now. Call 1300 55 8174. For affordable, on-the-spot battery replacement, call Batteries Direct. 1300 55 8174.
I'm Stephen Polaris, and I have a plan to prevent domestic violence before it happens, because when violence is predictable, it can be prevented. What we have now isn't working, and it's time for a new approach. Vote for me, Stephen Polaris, Real Change SA, and together, let's prevent domestic violence.
Vote 1 Stephen Polaris, Real Change SA. Authorised by Stephen Polaris, Real Change SA, 70 Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, SA 5000.
Whether you're running a big project or juggling multiple sites, meetings and deadlines, that's a Kennard's Hire job. From roads, transport and renewables to schools and hospitals, if you're in charge of major infrastructure projects, Kennard's Hire has the capability, solutions and expertise to make the job easy. So when you need the right solution with 24/7 support, that's a Kennard's Hire job.
Hi, Kennard's Hire.
Talk to our experts today.
Kennard's make your job easy.
All my friends in Adelaide I want to say hello to.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
Live from Hindmarsh Square, it's 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
9:06, good morning to you and welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast, the 11th of March. Our truckies are sounding the alarm about diesel prices and the absence of diesel in petrol stations around the state and country at the moment. We're chatting with the South Australian Road Transport Association's Executive Director, Steve Shearer, after 6:30 today. There was a driver of a big rig on 7 last night who usually it costs $1,500 to fill up his truck. Cost him $3,000 yesterday driving into Adelaide.
$3 grand.
Now, you don't need to be Sol Eastlake to know what the impact of trucking costs going up is. It means you and I pay more on everything. So we're chatting with Steve Shearer about that after 6:30 today. Also coming on the program, there's going to be a big beach protest at Tenley this morning, raising awareness for the algal bloom, which has slipped off the front page. Certainly not if you're over on the peninsula, but it's something that I think we imagined was going to be a big factor during this state election campaign. Well, there's a group that want to put it back on the agenda, and we'll chat with them before 7 o'clock. After 7 this morning, the rumour file, Sean Fuster will join us. We'll go around the court. It's been another wild night in the world of oil prices. Just to give you some indication, at one point in the last couple of hours, the Brent crude oil price went back into the 70s, which is basically the level it was at before the war began. The reason? A tweet. a tweet from the US Energy Secretary who had said a oil tanker has just been successfully has navigated the Straits of Hormuz with the assistance of the US Navy. And everyone went, well, that's a good sign. Prices plummeted. They're back up to around $90 because the tweet was deleted and the White House came out and said there's no such thing that's happened. Gives you a bit of a sense of how volatile our world financial markets are at the moment. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. Yeah, it does feel like a lot of stuff is being decided by what people do or don't say, and often they're completely contradictory things. I mean, Pete Hegseth, I can't keep up. Like the headline in the Australian right now, where are we? At the same time, Trump's trying to take the heat out of the situation because he knows that the market's tanking. There's a Pete Hegseth statement where he's talking, and he's the Secretary of Defence, now known as the Secretary of War. Oh, it's actually changed. It's been pushed down because the news cycle is just so fast. You know, things start for half an hour now, and then they're overtaken by events 30 minutes later. US vows to unleash most intense strikes of the war.
Doesn't sound like it's winding down, does it?
No. So, no wonder people are... You know what I think is really despicable? I think it's undeniable that petrol companies in Australia are ripping people off. I think there's absolutely no doubt about it. And the ACCC needs to actually make an example of them in this case. Well, because I, for the life of me, cannot understand how when we had pre-war petrol sitting in the tanks at metropolitan service stations around Australia, the prices went up.
Well, as I think...
And also why they're not giving it to country service stations.
Well, no, so the Energy Minister, Tom Curtis, put out a statement yesterday that was quite a big statement. It was actually contained information. It wasn't just sort of platitudes to provide background on this. I thought it was really interesting. And in it, he made the point. And federally, the federal government made this point. There hasn't been a single ship that's been disrupted coming to Australia, by the way, yet.
The only thing that's causing this is people buying too much petrol.
The only reason there are shortages anywhere is because of abnormal customer behaviour.
People with jerry cans losing their mind.
That's right.
It's like the same reason we couldn't get toilet rolls during COVID.
It is exactly the same phenomenon. There is no shortage of rolls. There is no shortage of petrol. There's just people buying more of them. But to the point about the prices then, it's diabolical. Now, there may well be disruption. Lord knows how that's going to flow through to the pump. But the whole thing's been treated as a sort of airline dynamic pricing. Hey, the Crows just made the prelim style event for petrol stations.
Why'd you mention that? The Crows just made the prelim?
Dare to
we
dream.
Didn't make the prelim.
No, I know. It was just sort of. I was coming up with
final to get there.
Coming up with a fantastical example to sort of demonstrate the point, if you know what I mean. 8223 is the number. We've also got some breaking news this morning with regard to the Iranian soccer players who have the remainder of whom have departed Australia, heading back to Iran. 2 more players said, I'm not getting on the flight, and have sought asylum. And Sky News are reporting 2 staff members of the side as well, which would bring 9 members of the entire playing squad who have taken up the Australian government on their offer.
God, it's terrible, that story, isn't it?
It's awful.
I was reading about, apparently there's a really long history in Iran of targeting athletes and their families. And apparently when they leave the country to compete at things like the Olympic Games and so forth, they have to pay these massive cash bonds to the government, vowing not to try to defect. And they don't get the money back otherwise. It's like a form of financial control.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently the girls who are staying in Australia, there's been terrible threats made towards their family. There was a really amazing piece by an Iranian Australian journalist that I read yesterday. It is funny, isn't it? Just looking at how deaf the Australian left is to all of this. These girls living in total terror of an utterly misogynistic, woman-hating regime, a regime that treats women like vassals and slaves, doesn't, let them determine how they dress, how they study, what sort of jobs they hold, how they behave in relationships, whether they can have sex with the partner of their choice, what their sexuality is. And you walk into any Australian university campus, so-called progressive beacons, and everyone's chanting death to Israel.
Well, I mean, I think the best/worst example of that in Adelaide was the International Women's Day breakfast the other day. I know plenty of women that went to that, progressive-minded women who were confronted with chants from the death to Israel mob out the front, going, sorry, what's that got to do with anything? And it's only got to do with anything if your worldview is everything has to do with everything. All roads lead back to Israel, like the road network of ancient Rome. That you somehow.
Funny, isn't it? Did you notice that when there was that all-in crowd riot at the Parkers, the Rangers Celtic game on the weekend? There was some idiot running around at the end with a Palestinian flag during the pitch invasion. And I thought, there you go, even drunken Scotsmen can get their messages mixed.
Celtic have a pretty hard left political...
Oh, that's true. They're a bit sort of the IRA's favourite team.
They tend to champion some of those causes through hooliganism at times. But, you know, who doesn't? 16 after 6, 8223 0000 is our number. You can text us as well on 0480 1395. Some very funny text coming through. We'll get to those in just a moment.
Living with diabetes? Ditch finger pricks with Freestyle Libre, the wearable sensor that monitors glucose levels straight to your phone. Trial it now for only $15 at freestylelibre.com.au. T's and C's apply. Follow directions for use.
Not every conversation stays with you. This one will. Join Stephen Bartlett as he asks the questions and nothing is left unsaid. Search The Diary of a CEO wherever you get your podcasts.
I'll grab a few people I know. We'll mark out some places to go. There's no invitation, just a destination, and that's the best freedom I know. Jump in the Jayco. Jump in the Jayco. Yeah, that's the best freedom I know.
You can rent a little, you can rent a lot. Business too small to be noticed by those global car rental companies? Well, you can rely on Red Spot to look after you. We love renting to small businesses because we used to be one. We're the only Aussie family-owned car rental company in airport terminals and cities across Australia. And right now, Red Spot is giving you spot-on savings of 15% off every vehicle at every location. Book direct and save at redspot.com.au/radio. T's and C's apply.
Red Spot.
When it comes to dining out, if you're after a place that does it all, head for 150A King William Road, Hyde Park.
By day, it's the ever-popular Hello Neighbour, open 7 days for brunch and lunch. Warm, relaxed and instantly welcoming. Great coffee, generous plates and a menu of proper brunch favourites.
Ben, as the sun goes down Wednesday to Saturday, the same venue transforms into Tartusi by night. It's an intimate Italian dinner experience.
Tartusi's Gnoccheria and Pasta Bar offers fresh gnocchi, handmade daily from 6 p.m. right in front of you. Rich sauces, steak and fish mains, plus they cater for gluten-free, celiac and vegans.
So whether it's brunch with friends or a dinner date, you'll find it all at one address. Hello Neighbour by day, Tartusi by night for dinner, 150A King William Road, Hyde Park.
For most people, the goal is getting to retirement. But that's when the goals begin. Travel overseas, caravanning, spoiling the grandkids. Whatever you want in retirement, AFM Wealth Strategy plans around it. Their advice starts with your goals, helping you budget so everything fits. Investing matters, but it's not the centre of the conversation. Your life is. AFM Wealth Strategy. An authorised representative of Independent Financial Advisors Australia. AFSL 464629.
G'day, it's Eddie May here from NRG Solar. We've grown from 3 staff at the beginning to 30, 40 staff and a number of contractors now. And radio's definitely played a big part of that. We've been working with FIVEAA for 5 or 6 years now. And in that time, we've seen a lot of businesses come and go in our industry. And I think that's a great example of people having a go, short periods of time, not happy, leave. And for us, that longevity has enabled us to have a really great relationship with the audience. So when we meet someone that's a FIVEAA customer, they feel like they know us and we feel like we know them, and it makes for a really great experience for everyone involved.
To get your message out there and grow your business, visit fiveaa.com.au and hit the Advertise With Us link.
Hi, Nick Xenophon here. I've worked with Connie Benares of SA Best for over 20 years. She's gutsy, independent, and she gives all South Australians a genuine voice. I really trust her to do the right thing. So whoever you vote for in the lower house, make sure that for the upper house, on that big white ballot paper, you vote 1 in box C above the line. That's box C for Connie. Connie Benares of SA Best.
Authorised by C. Benares, 7169 Unley Road, Unley, SA 5061. Published by SA Best.
What's worse than running out of gas during the Christmas barbecue or the gas burner cutting out right as you're cooking your favourite steak?
Come on.
At Max Built Trading Co., we've been keeping barbies sizzling and meat medium rare since 1946. From refilling gas bottles to those hard-to-track down spares for your gas burner, Max Built has quality products and reliable solutions for all situations. Visit us at Research Road, Paraka, or head to our Facebook page for more.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
21 after 6. Matt's upset, David, about our views on the Celtic Football Club. This is the problem that we have, having had a producer now in Paddy who is a Celtic diehard and our former producer being a Rangers diehard, is I feel like we're too close to this. And Matt, just know we are absolutely neutral in this discussion.
Yeah, totally.
We would have said Rangers champion conservative causes through hooliganism. So, look, it's, pick your poison. It's the beauty of Scottish football.
The other thing too, we've got perfect theological balance in here, with Will having been brought up in the Catholic faith.
Yes.
And me being a
Methodist. That's why you don't dance.
That's why I don't dance. Dance, Will. Dance.
Mm.
You just said dance.
Yeah. You damn straight I did. You understood what I meant.
Dance.
Yeah.
Dance.
You don't do it. What do you care?
I don't dance. I'm also a keen supporter of the Women's Christian Temperance Union.
I know that.
Yeah. I mean, in a theoretical sense. Unless I've had, whole stack of beer and wine. But generally I support
Which is
work.
also a key tenet of the Methodist creed.
That's right.
22 after 6. Let's check with Mary O'Sullivan, who's the Deputy Director of the Castan Centre for Human Rights Law at Monash University. Want to tease out some issues potentially, or have a closer look at the case of the Iranian women's football team and how they might gain, how the temporary protection visas work and gain asylum into Australia. Maria O'Sullivan, good morning to you.
Oh, good morning, David and Will.
It really is quite a remarkable and heart-wrenching story, this, isn't it, Maria?
Oh yeah, and the footage of Tony Burke with the girls, and then some of the other footage was really heartwarming, and it's great that Australia has embraced these soccer players.
So, what sort of legal status do they enjoy now? They're on temporary protection visas, are they not?
Yeah, temporary humanitarian visas, class 449, if people want to know, and that means they have a temporary stay, but it does lead to permanent residency. So that's important because some temporary visas don't.
And because sometimes people get given temporary visas, do they not, where their country might be going through a period of strife, like say maybe like a well-known civil war such as Rwanda, whereas these days Rwanda is one of the economic success stories of Africa and very stable. So if circumstances change in a country, you can be told, look, you don't need to stay here anymore, do you?
Totally correct. So in the 90s, that's what happened in Kosovo. So the former Yugoslavia, listeners will know there was a war there in the 90s. And Australia gave temporary humanitarian visas. They may have been the same sort. And then, after about a year or two, some people obviously went home, and some refugees do want to go home when there's a conflict that then ends. In this instance, yes, quite a few Kosovans went home, and then when their visa expired, there was probably some deportations as well.
That's right.
Maria, do temporary protection visas exist and work in isolation, or do they provide a mechanism by which, say, a family member, a mum or dad, or someone else who's directly in strife might be able to join the person under that protection in Australia?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Some visas do allow what we call family reunification. So obviously the players' families back in Iran are going to also face persecution, and that's a recognised issue in refugee law. You don't have to actually... seeking asylum in Australia then has implications for people in the home country. So that can either be done, I guess, voluntarily by Australia, actually organising players' families to come here. Obviously, at the moment, that's a little bit hard in Iran. Or the family members can leave Iran and then seek asylum in Australia.
Yeah, no, it's it feels almost cinematic, this story, where you've got the way the team's been torn apart. There'd be people on the young girls and also administrators on the plane home feeling completely torn about whether they're doing the right thing. Maybe they were prevented from staying. So thanks for your insights, Maria. Maria O'Sullivan, the Deputy Director of the Castan Centre for Human Rights Law at Monash University.
26 minutes after 6. Peter in Fulham Gardens has called in. Morning to you, Peter.
Morning, boys. I just want to let you know that the Port River Expressway must be the Diver Derrick Bridge opening, or there's an accident, but there are cars right back over past Simons and Clark, over the bridge, right down the expressway, mate. Yeah, big hold up.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Thanks, Peter.
We'll try to get some more intel on that for you, Peter. That's terrific. Thank you.
On.
Yeah, it is. It shouldn't be that kind of traffic there at this time.
Malakia.
822-388-88. Or text us on 0480081395 if you've got more intel. We're going to make some calls and get to the bottom of precisely what is going on there. The weather today throughout Adelaide, heading for a top of 26. It's 21.3 outside. It's going to look a bit cloudy, a little bit dreary today. It's not going to rain.
Geez, the weather's been good lately there.
But it's been eminently livable at the moment.
I reckon March, April's the best time to be in Adelaide.
Well, you look what's on offer for the rest of the week. So tomorrow 23, Friday 24, mostly sunny. Saturday is a picture perfect Saturday weather. I think 29 degrees, sunny, no rain. Might get a drizzle of rain on Sunday. 29 the top, up to 3 millimetres.
Yeah, right.
Potentially on the way. Yeah, that's right.
Follow that when we see it.
The 0 to 3 weighs heavy. The 0 weighs heavy in these, doesn't it now? For example, the Monday is 0 to 6 millimetres. I'm placing more weight on the 0 than the 6 based on recent experience.
Yeah, the 0.
29 Monday and 30 0.
Always bet on the 0
on Tuesday.
I say.
Yeah, that's right. Lucky 0.
That's right. Or as Leslie, no, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say a line from the Naked Gun, but I'm not going to say it.
Not many you can. Tom Rins in the 5AA Breakfast Studio. Get to Agostina, Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes for the Outlander ES. Drive away from just $39,990. Morning, you ready?
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Boys, I'm still coming down from last night's amazing 36ers. I took the 12-year-old boy, Harry, and what a night for the 36ers. They've played their first home final in 8 years. It's their first ever at the Entertainment Centre. The atmosphere was rocking. It was the hottest ticket in town. The row in front of us, it was Riley Thilthorpe, Josh Rochelle, Ben Keys. The Premier was there. It was just heaving last night. The crowd was amped. It was a big night. They had to win, I felt, because there was a real pensiveness about, the Sixers are expected to win. Bryce Cotton led the way. Let's have a listen to how things wrapped up.
Who has 40 playoff points. Hunting for more. The 36ers take game one on their home floor and take the advantage into Saturday.
Great call, Jack Heverin there on ESPN. So they were 6-0 down and you sort of thought, oh no, here we go. And then Bryce Cotton just went, no, she's good. He went 6 from 6 early on in the first quarter. He had 24, I think, of their first 36 or 40 points. He had 42 for the night, a record. He was just outstanding. He carried that team on his shoulders.
Well, let's remind people that don't follow it that closely for what this is. This bloke is one of the greatest players who've ever played in the NBL.
Yep, if not the greatest.
Yeah, he has a claim. He's in his prime. He's won another MVP. Talk about silencing the doubters. And I think the word you used, Rennie, is spot on. The pensiveness around the 36 is about whether this whole thing was looking wobbly. 6-0 down. It's like he knew. And this is one of the things that can happen in basketball compared to other team sports is one person of exceptional talent can seize a moment, and he seized a half of basketball himself last night, and he put the team on his shoulders. It was a remarkable performance.
I think if they lost that, felt like the Crows for me. They're going to go out in straight sets. They get belted.
Yep.
Now I think they probably win in Melbourne.
Yeah, and belief.
Then they go through the grand final. We haven't won since 2002. It's just good. Let's get back to Titletown when, it was the 36ers, the Crows, the Thunderbirds. It'd be nice to have Adelaide.
The Backs.
The Backs. They're a chance to go back to back. Let's let's take this thing. So it was really good last night. We'll give a bit more of a preview later in the week about the Crows and Port first games coming up, but the 36ers, I think, deserve a bit of love after that effort last night.
Yeah, it's a good point, Rennie. And tomorrow's selection day, so we've plenty to speculate on then.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
good work, boys.
On you, Tom.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy, 26 today with the 6:30 news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Had a collision? Get in touch with Premier Panel Services and have your car returned to its former beauty.
Up to 4 additional members of the Iranian soccer team are understood to be seeking asylum in Australia, believed to be 2 players and 2 officials. 5 women players were yesterday granted humanitarian visas, allowing them to stay here instead of returning to the conflict. The remaining team members have now left the country, beginning their journey back to Iran. With petrol at $2.19 per litre around Adelaide, it's not just motorists affected by the war in Iran. Gabriel Hodson reports Qantas is jacking up airfares as the Middle East conflict hits fuel prices.
Qantas, Air New Zealand and SAS are among the latest airlines to announce higher fares due to the rising demand and cost of aviation fuel. The price of flying overseas will rise by 5% on average to offset the price of jet fuel, which News Corp says has gone up 150% in a week. Demand for flights to Europe has also surged, and Qantas is calling for passengers to book early. Travel agents say the cost pressures will start to show up in unsold tickets.
The United States claims the next few days of strikes on Iran will be the most intense since the war began. Iran has also launched a wave of missiles at Israeli cities and US targets in the region. The country's parliamentary speaker saying Tehran is not seeking a ceasefire. Federally, in politics, the National Senator Matt Canavan believes he is the best person to lead the regional party to the next election. He's hoping to replace fellow Queenslander David Littleproud, who's decided to quit the job after 4 years in the role. A party room meeting will be held in Canberra this morning to decide on a new federal leader. Senator Canavan says he wants to work for all Australians.
I'm going to run because, I'm very positive about the future of this country. It's very tough times right now, but the one thing that marks us out as a nation is that whenever we have problems, whenever we have challenges like we do now, the solutions are right here.
Campaigning for the state election continues. The state government promising to open schools for community events when they're not needed by the school. The government saying incredible public facilities sit unused outside of school hours due to a lack of coordination, ease of access or staff workload, while sport and community clubs are in need of more places to play, train or hold events. It says public schools, which are publicly owned for the benefit of all South Australians, should be available beyond the school day. Meantime, the opposition is continuing to target the Health Minister Chris Picton over revelations he tried to discredit a widow's concerns over hospital ramping. The Libs say the Premier sent a troubling message to South Australians by refusing to stand down the Health Minister despite his office breaching the government's own rules on patient confidentiality. About 1.4 million students will start NAPLAN testing today. The national assessment helps teachers, parents and carers see how children in years 3, 5, 7 and 9 are progressing in literacy and numeracy. Australian Curriculum Assessment and Reporting Authority Chief Executive Stephen Neal says parents should try to keep things calm and settled as normal.
NAPLANs are not pass-fail tests. They're about really knowing where our children are up to, where their strengths are, where their development can be strengthened as well. So what we want to do is know that students are doing the best they can.
Turning to 5AA Sport.
Get to Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes for the Outlander ES. Drive away from just $39,990.
Great night down at Hindmarsh last night, Tom Wren.
Oh, it was amazing, wasn't it, Matty? What a performance from the Adelaide 36ers, and the coach, Mike Wells, has praised his group following last night's thrilling 104-97-point win. That was against the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix in Game 1 of their best-of-3 semi-final series. Bryce Cotton led the way with a stunning 42 points. Wells saying his team's ability to perform under pressure was the difference.
We made plays, and I think it's playoff basketball is about making plays, and sometimes it's just one more play.
The Crows and Port Adelaide will again train today as they continue to prepare for their season openers this weekend. The Power are set to welcome back Jack Lukosius and Miles Bergman for their match against North Melbourne, while the Crows are confident Riley Thilthorpe will play against Collingwood despite nursing a sore back. Well, the Matildas admit mystery surrounds their Asian Cup quarter-final opponent, North Korea, which could make them dangerous in Friday night's match in Perth. The Matildas have returned to WA after finishing second in Group A behind South Korea. Midfielder Claire Wheeler says they're not sure what to expect.
Yeah, I think they're a bit of a dark horse. I think, not many of us have played against them in recent years, so a lot of us are reviewing the footage and we watched the game the other night.
Meantime, Liverpool has plenty of work to do after losing the first leg of its knockout tie against Galatasaray in the Champions League. The Turkish side breaking the deadlock early in the first half.
Sarah's corner, Osimhen, it's in! Mario Lemina heads Galatasaray in front in the 7th minute of the game.
Audio there thanks to Stan Sport. The return leg will be played back at Anfield next week. And there's plenty of other Champions League action on this morning. They're just kicking off their matches. Newcastle hosting Barcelona, while Atletico Madrid is up against Tottenham. And that's the 5AA Sport.
5AA's forecast.
Stuck in traffic? Road trip differently in the Northern Territory. northernterritory.com/drive.
Partly cloudy 26 today, cloudy 23 tomorrow, sunny 24 on Friday, 29 over the weekend. Right now, 21. 5AA, always Adelaide.
We're all feeling the squeeze under Labor. Power bills are up 43% in 4 years. We have the 6th least affordable housing in the world. And our debt is nearing $48 billion. This election, stop Labor's cost of living squeeze. Vote Liberal.
Authorised by AHIDE Liberal Party only.
Time to Pixter. Around 70% of serious dental problems start in the gaps between teeth. Pixters clean those gaps like floss, only easier. Keep by your toothbrush and use daily. Have you Pixtered today?
Now, there are lots of great reasons to get behind our great friends Najobi and the Legacy Food Group. And on top of that, it's the sizzling reward of civic duty. Don't miss it, Saturday week. The Democracy Sausage, it's back thanks to Scott and his team, and they've committed to thousands and thousands of snags for the big day.
Scott's family has farmed the Fleurieu Peninsula for over 180 years, and they've got this philosophy. Every part of what they grow deserves respect. There should be nothing that's wasted, and it's that respect that drives everything they do at Legacy, and it goes into every Najobi product. It makes them proud to serve the same food to their family that they serve to yours.
And they've also, in their spare time, just made one of the world's best tasting sausages, which is, of course, going to be our Democracy Sausage. Lots of great reasons to get behind them. And remember, your Democracy Sausage at the voting booth, thanks to Najobi.
Hi there, Brett Ibbott here for Mawson Lakes Mazda. They're kicking off the year with a big one. All 2025 plate Mazdas are priced to clear. Plus, a massive range of low-kilometre demos that must be cleared as well. Take a look at their extensive range of models and colours. No gimmicks, no fuss. Just the best price and the best customer support for you and your shiny new Mazda. The 2025 plate clearance. On now at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Salisbury Highway, a short drive from the city.
Your backyard doesn't need another barbecue. It needs a centerpiece. Rustic Wood Ovens handcraft custom wood-fired ovens built to suit your space with stainless or granite benchtops, integrated barbecue options, electrical fittings and expert trades behind every detail. If you're serious about entertaining, you need to be serious about the space. Speak to Rustic Wood Ovens and craft your culinary dreams with wood-fired elegance. Visit rusticwoodovens.com today.
Are you recovering from injury or managing joint or muscle pain? Keyser Physiotherapy, Rehabilitation and Strength Training programs are your first step to moving with confidence. Discover the Keyser difference at our National Open Day this Saturday, March 14 from 8 to 3. Learn how strength can support your long-term health. Try Keyser's exclusive Swiss-engineered machines and even test your strength. With 33 clinics nationwide, it's easy to get started at Keyser. Find a Keyser near you at kieser.com.au.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
21 minutes to 7. Sean Fuster in an hour's time will go around the courts with Sean. Directly after him, Koshi will join us on the show. And Koshi provides terrific real-time analysis of what's happening on our markets. And he'll certainly do that this morning with regard to oil, the risks of inflation, the RBA meeting next week, and all of that sort of top-line analysis of the economic impacts and fallout for South Australians because of what's happening in Iran. There's a more basic version of all this that I think everyone can wrap their head around. And it's that as if the petrol that you put in a truck goes up demonstrably and the costs on the transport industry go up demonstrably, in a country as big as Australia, all those costs get passed on to people at the supermarket and everywhere you buy basic foodstuffs and groceries and whatnot as well. And that's something the trucking industry is warning about. We're going to be chatting with Steve Shearer very, very shortly about precisely that.
Actually, we could have done this as breaking it out. Someone sent this to me yesterday. Goolwa Quarries temporary fuel surcharge. So this was sent out yesterday by the quarry manager at Goolwa Quarries. Hello all. Due to a volatile fuel market and a rapid and steep price rise at this point, as of tomorrow, the 11th of March, which is today, I'll just double check that is today, isn't it? Yes. So as of today, this is a good intro to our next chat. Goolwa Quarries is applying a temporary fuel surcharge on all transport deliveries of 3 cents per tonne per kilometre. As stated, this applies to freight only and will rise and fall with the market. We'll keep you informed as best we can as things change. So that's a classic example of a small South Australian business, Goolwa Quarries. We're not having a crack at them because this is the reality of the market that they're operating in.
Everyone's going to do this. They just won't declare it like these guys have.
So they've been upfront and said, look, we've got to put a 3 cents a tonne surcharge on because of the cost of fuel.
Well, that's the great irony of this is that people perhaps hoarding fuel to moderate spikes in the petrol price are going to manufacture spikes in the grocery prices that'll probably...
Well, the other thing too is there's a chance that if you are hoarding petrol, you're buying it at its most expensive point in the cycle. So you're going to end up with a shed full of fuel that you paid top dollar for.
Well, Steve Shearer is the head of the SA Road Transport Association and joins us now on 5AA Breakfast. Steve, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good, thanks, Steve. Steve, did you hear that thing I was just reading out about Goolwa Quarries?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what it looks like, isn't it?
Yes. Well, look, the trucking industry's been using fuel levies for about 2 decades, and the clients know because they get an invoice for the freight at the agreed freight rate plus a fuel levy. Sometimes that's built into a contract. Usually when it is, the customer, which might be a very large truck operator or a supermarket, they actually write the rise and fall clause, and of course they write it in their favour. And it most often does not actually cover the actual price of diesel that the truck operator who's doing the work is having to pay. And our problem is pretty simple. We run typically on a profit margin of about 3%. Fuel is about 33 to 35% of our cost structure. So if fuel goes up by 10%, and it's gone up by more than double that, there goes our profit margin, and we're suddenly not sustainable. So we might be able to handle it for a few days, but we can't handle it for a prolonged period, and we have to pass it on. And customers need to understand it. And so if it's a furniture manufacturer, they'll get charged more in a fuel levy that will be identified, and it'll go back down when the fuel price drops. But that furniture manufacturer will have to consider whether they increase the price of a chair by 50 cents or whatever it's going to be when they spread it out. Supermarkets will do the same thing. It's unfortunate, but we can't expect the truck industry to go broke for everybody else's benefit, because then we won't have a trucking industry.
What would your message be, Steve, to people in terms of fuel hoarding? I mean, that's one thing that if that stopped now, that would take the pressure off in a large degree, would it not?
Well, most of the fuel hoarding that's going on is with petrol, not diesel.
That's true.
There'd be a bit with diesel, but mostly it would be petrol. But it's very, very selfish, but it's also illegal. You are not allowed to store a dangerous good, which is what petrol is, in your own house or your own garage. So it's also very dangerous, as the fireys were saying. But some of the fuel outlets are happy because they're getting a double whammy. They're flogging off jerry cans, plastic ones, at a pretty good ticket price, and then watching people fill them up. I actually think what the servos should do is if they see someone filling up a tank like that, turn the pump off. Sorry, the fuel's for your car, not for your tank. Right?
Yeah.
But we need, for us to get through this, everybody understood during COVID how important the trucking industry was to keep everybody supplied with everything they need. And for that to continue, we need customers to understand that when there's volatile hikes in fuel prices, fuel levies have to go up, but they will come back down when the fuel price drops. But if we don't do that, it would be akin to grabbing a bit of rope, reaching inside your chest and choking your aorta until your blood flow really falls away. Then you become sick very quickly and then you die. The trucking industry is like the cardiovascular system. We need it, and we need it to be viable. So,
Steve, just a question on the nature of the contracts you talked about. Obviously designed to insulate the trucking industry from these sorts of oil price shocks and increase to input costs. Is there a point, though, at which things begin to break? Well, if diesel got to $3 a litre, for example, as some worst-case scenarios are projecting, is there a point at which even those built-in mechanisms in the contract actually don't protect you in a way that's feasible, or make it such that the people that are employing you start second-guessing the deliveries they're doing and so forth?
Yeah, look, there's certainly truth in that for sure, because people have to figure out, the end customers have to figure out, are they going to be able to survive in their market by increasing their prices? And for luxury goods like high-level TVs and furniture, a few dollar increase or even a $10 increase wouldn't make any difference. But, there's 54,000 trucking businesses in this country. Probably less than 4,000 actually have written contracts. The rest have verbal agreements, and those written contracts are usually a contract for a rate, not a guaranteed volume of work. So the trucking industry is actually very, very vulnerable to customers who say, well, I'm not happy with that. I'll look over your shoulder and use another guy, which is why the pressure within the trucking industry, the market pressure, is very, very tough, because there's always some goose who doesn't understand, who's prepared to run at a rate not realising he's going to make a loss. But in the medium term, we won't have a sustainable and viable and safe trucking industry if we don't acknowledge this. And the big corporates are very un-Australian, and they sell you your fruit and veg every week, or they sell you a bunch of other products. Big corporates are brutal in their rise and fall clause. And their rise and falls don't say, I tell you what, Will or Pembo, if the price you're actually paying for your fuel goes up by X, then your levy can go up by X percent. What they do is they pick a formula that says, terminal gate pricing, we'll base it on that. But you're not paying terminal gate pricing when you buy your fuel.
Yeah. Steve, thank you. Steve Shearer from the SA Road Transport Association.
Cheers, Steve. Making
the case well of the importance of that industry and it remaining viable.
Truckies carry this country, as the bumper sticker says.
Exactly right.
Truckies carry this country.
Jeff makes a point on the text line. It was mentioned on 5AA last night that your home insurance may not pay out in the event of a fire from storing excessive amount of flammables. We'll be chatting with the MFS a little bit later about precisely this, because it's actually also against the law, and it's probably why it voids your insurance, because you're actually breaking the law. So we'll talk more about that a little bit later. Let's talk weather. Daniel Sherwin-Simpson from the Weather Bureau is on the line. Morning to you, Daniel.
Good morning, David and Will.
What have we got in store for this Wednesday?
Yeah, well, if you've been outside in about the last half an hour, you will have noticed the wind's picked up quite a bit, and it might even feel a bit humid out there. That's because we've just seen the cold front that we're expecting to come through today hit the city. It came in at the airport first, and now it's made its way in through the suburbs. So the temperature will probably actually go down for a little bit before it goes up as we get into the afternoon. It was a fairly warm night, minimum only down to 19.7 degrees currently sitting at 20.7. So we could see it go back down into the teens before we're on for a top of 26 today. Fortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to be picking up any of those showers that'll be down further south and across places like Kangaroo Island. As we sort of head into today, it's going to be a bit of a windy one. These winds will stick around for the better part of the day. Moving into tomorrow, things will be a bit more settled, but it will be cooler. So generally, temperatures stay on the cooler side of things, 23 for tomorrow, 24 for Friday, but we do start to warm back up onto the weekend, and we may be able to pick up a couple of light showers early next week.
Good stuff, Daniel. Thank you for that. Daniel Sherwin-Simpson from the Weather Bureau.
All right, let's head over to SAPOL. Senior Constable Matt Brown joins us. Matt, there's been a serious crash at Morphett Vale this morning.
That's right. Well, about 1:30 a.m. today, police and emergency services were called to Gulflands View after reports of a single car crash. Traffic restrictions will be in place for most of the morning, and police ask road users to avoid the area. Anyone who might have witnessed the crash is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
And, Matt, also 2 cars have been stolen from Seacombe Gardens, but in good news, you guys have tracked them down.
That's right, not just them, but also the suspects that allegedly stole them. So about 5:30 a.m. yesterday, a man reported that 2 cars had been stolen from his house in Seacombe Gardens, namely a white BMW X1 station wagon and a grey Mazda CX-8 station wagon. And 2 suspects had broken into the Seacombe Road property and stole the keys to the vehicles, but the BMW had tracking software installed, so the victim was able to relay information to police, who used Polair to locate the vehicle on Haydown Road at Elizabeth. And Polair then followed the car as it travelled throughout the northern suburbs and the sort of northern area of Adelaide, the car heading north on Port Wakefield Road at Dublin about 6:10 a.m. The car then continued towards Snowtown, and then it had turned around back towards the Copper Coast Highway intersection. Road spikes were successfully deployed, and the 2 suspects fled the scene but were located nearby. And the other car that they'd also allegedly stolen was located in Elizabeth Vale. So a 16-year-old boy and a 15-year-old girl, both from Craigmore, were charged with numerous offences, including illegal use of a motor vehicle and serious criminal trespass. They refused bail to appear in court yesterday. So some good work by patrols on the ground and in the sky, and it does go to show exactly how valuable tracking software can be on vehicles and property.
Yeah, totally.
And just lastly, Matt, very sad story at Monarto South yesterday.
That's right. About 8:30 p.m. Yesterday, police and emergency services were called to an agricultural facility on Pope Road at Monarto South following reports of a workplace accident. A 24-year-old man was found with critical injuries and, despite the efforts of paramedics, sadly died at the scene. And police are preparing a report for the coroner, and Safe Work SA have been advised, and there's no suspicious circumstances surrounding the man's death.
Okay, Matt, that's thank you for that. Senior Constable Matt Brown from SAPOL. Hey, just we're getting a lot of texts from people sort of professing to know everything about whether you can or cannot store petrol at home and how much you can store at home. Stick around later because we're going to get the MFS to come on to clear this up once and for all, because there might be a few urban myths doing the round about the legality or otherwise of petrol storage. Steve Shearer from the Trucking Association just made the point that up after certain amounts, it's illegal to store petrol at home. They were his comments. We're going to be getting the MFS on to get to the bottom of it. Because obviously you can store some. I mean, anyone with a lawnmower's got a can of petrol.
It's on the MFS website. It's not hard for people to look up. So in domestic, unlicensed situation, the storage of highly flammable liquids must not exceed 120 litres. Container sizes must be no greater than 60 litres. And that does not include what you've got actually in the tank of your car. But so separate from that, that's the South Australian Dangerous Substances Regulations Act of 2002.
How many litres are they?
120. And so that you can have 2 60-litre containers, essentially.
Yeah, right, and that's on the MFS website.
That's the MFS website.
Well, some people are texting and saying you can store up to 250 litres at your home.
Well, maybe there are different rules if you're on a farm, but this is the MFS website. So,
that says for a residential home, that text. So whoever's texted that in should probably double-check because they might be breaking the law.
All right, let's check traffic. Car battery dead? Call Batteries Direct and they'll come to you anytime with a new affordable battery installed.
G'day there, it's always where I used to crash to look out for Main North Road near Park Terrace, Burst Watermain at Marston, South Road near Everard Avenue, Porter Expressway very slow this morning in through Gilman and to Port Adelaide. The Birkenhead Bridge going up at the moment. That'll be slow for about the next 10 minutes or so. Cameras this morning, Heaslip Road, Angle Vale and Ridley Grove at Ferryden Park. SANE has helped people navigate complex mental health for 40 years. If you or someone you care for needs free information, recovery support or community connection, visit sane.org today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Bringing you the moments that defined our city.
The Rundle Mall. Turn on the champagne. The mall in Adelaide for the people.
Always Adelaide for 50 years. This is 5AA.
In the 2025 CanStar Blue Awards, Automasters was rated Australia's top pick for most satisfied customers for a car servicing group. With Automasters AutoCam, you get a video report on your car with an itemised quote. That's credibility through transparency. So switch and save on brakes, aircon, logbook servicing, mechanical repairs and more. All with the flexibility of pay later options. Call 1300 Automasters, rated CanStar Blue's most satisfied customers.
It's been a busy 4 years for the Liberals. They picked a new leader, but it didn't end well. Remember that cocaine photo? Then came Tarzia. His deputy quit, then weeks before the election, he quit too. So what's that? 4 leaders in 4 years? That's not even the worst of it. They say they're tough on crime, but since you last voted, a former state Liberal has been convicted of serious drug offences, another charged with domestic violence, and one even jailed for theft. All that in just 4 years. Imagine 4 more. Authorised A. Burke, Australian Labor Party, Adelaide.
If you love your home, but you've never been in love with your kitchen, well, the answer is not far away.
No, it's just 15 minutes up the freeway, in fact, because that's where you'll find Balhanna Kitchens by Design. It boasts the largest kitchen design showroom in the Adelaide Hills, plus it's a family business with 35 years' experience, so they care about taking care of you.
And their expertise goes further than kitchens. They can create laundries, linen cupboards, robes and vanities, plus all cabinet installations are backed by a 10-year warranty.
Balhanna Kitchens by Design. It's not too far to go to make your dream kitchen a reality. See more at balhannakitchens.com.au.
Living with diabetes? Ditch finger pricks with Freestyle Libre. Freestyle Libre is a small wearable sensor that monitors your glucose levels and trends and sends them straight to your phone. Instant, up-to-date feedback. No finger pricks. How good is that? And you can trial Freestyle Libre for only $15. Just head to freestylelibre.com.au to find out how. T's and C's apply. Follow directions for use. Read warnings before purchase. Free yourself from finger pricks with Freestyle Libre.
2 days to deadline. Now's the time to buy your tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Lock in by midnight Friday to unlock the Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon bonus prize. Drive home the win. Even better, you'll stay in the draw for the $4 million Scott Salisbury Grand Prize in Henley Beach South, just steps from the beach. Don't miss out. The bonus deadline is midnight Friday. homelottery.com.au. Licence M14894.
In the 2025 CanStar Blue Awards, Automasters was rated Australia's top pick for most satisfied customers for a car servicing group. So switch and save on air conditioning service and regas. Call 1300 Automasters, rated CanStar Blue's most satisfied customers.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
2 minutes to 7. Exciting news. If you're running a community barbecue on election day, we have democracy sausages for you. And what's better, we have a place that you can register your interest now. Head to 5AA.com.au. All thanks to the wonderful people at Najobi. But get in early. These sausages are unbelievable. Everyone who's tried them says they're the best sausages they've ever eaten in their life. So register now.
They are infinitely better than the ones I made last year.
Well, the
federal ones.
We don't want to labour the point.
Well, no, they were just too in your face. They were like some mad French chef who'd been let loose with the what do they call them? Variety meats. one of my favourite euphemisms. Have you ever eaten an andouillette sausage? Andouillette? Have you ever eaten one?
No, I haven't.
Don't.
Okay, thank you.
They're bad.
They won't be. The Joby aren't doing that for the ones they are doing, though. Rosemary and lamb are spectacular. If you go past Henley Beach this morning, you might see something a little bit different. 200 South Australians will be there to raise awareness about the algal bloom crisis in the midst of this state election campaign. Shalina Furtado is the Senior Campaign Manager at Get Up and joins us now. Shalina, good morning.
Good morning.
morning. How are you?
We're good, Shalina. So what's happening at Henley Beach this morning?
Yes, so we're actually at Grange Beach this morning. We are doing our normal 6:30 a.m. yoga. We have 200 keen yogis on the beach, and then following that, very soon we'll be gathering into a huge human sign that spells out "Vote Nature" on the stand. So that is what's happening, and this is essentially a call to the public and the government to keep nature in mind and kind of focus on the devastating algal bloom that we've seen for about a year now.
It has been absolutely devastating for our metropolitan beaches and indeed our regional communities as well. Shalina, thank you. Shalina Furtado, Senior Campaign Manager at Get Up. If you're going past Henley Beach and you see people making odd shapes, it's about the algal bloom, something that...
Cop that bloom, bit of downward dog for you.
Exactly right. We expected to probably be front and centre in this election campaign, but both global events and other things have knocked it a bit off the front page. But for people that are suffering as a result of it, it's very much front of mind.
I think country listeners would say it also shows this state's metropolitan bias.
Completely.
It's going
like
and they're
not wrong.
On the western side of York still.
Absolutely. All right, 5AA News Time. Sean Fuster, Koshy in the next hour. Stick around.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Adelaide's news leader for 50 years. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy, 26 today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Need a crash repairer you can trust? FIVEAA Panel Services delivers expert care to you and your vehicle.
A man has died after an industrial accident at Monarto South. Paramedics called to an agricultural facility on Pope Road at 8:30 last night. A 24-year-old man had suffered critical injuries. Despite the efforts of paramedics, he sadly died at the scene. Police will prepare a report for the coroner and SafeWork SA are investigating. The state government is urging motorists not to panic buy petrol. Fuel around the metro area has surged to $2.20 per litre for unleaded 91, up from $1.79 just over a week ago. Some regional towns are running out of fuel. Diesel is at $2.40. Energy Minister Tom Koutsantona says some people are filling up to avoid future price rises. Others are stocking up because they fear an impending shortage.
My advice to them is there is ample supply across the state, and the right thing to do is not to panic buy. It's the right thing to do by our state and the right thing to do by our country. And the right thing to do right now is to calm people down and say there is not a shortage.
Police are investigating a serious crash at Morford Vale at 1:30 this morning. Senior Constable Matt Brown says it's a single-car crash on Golflands View.
Traffic restrictions will be in place for most of the morning, and police ask road users to avoid the area. Anyone who might have witnessed the crash is asked to call Crime Stoppers.
The Nationals will choose a new federal leader this morning following the resignation of David Littleproud. Mr Littleproud says he's exhausted and can no longer give the position his all. Queensland Senator Matt Canavan and Deputy Nationals leader Kevin Hogan are both vying for the party's top job. The US is warning of the most intense day of strike action in Iran since the conflict in the Middle East began. Fresh explosions rocking Tehran hours after an Iranian security official took to social media to warn US President Donald Trump to be careful so he doesn't get eliminated. US Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says today will see the most fighters and the most bombers deployed.
With an overwhelming and unrelenting focus on our objectives, which are the same as the day I gave my first briefing here on Operation Epic Fury. They're straightforward, and we are executing them with ruthless precision.
More members of the Iranian women's football team are reportedly seeking asylum in Australia. It's understood at least 4 more players and officials have opted to stay in the country, alongside 5 others granted asylum yesterday. The remaining players and team members have started their journey back home to the centre of the conflict in the Middle East. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke says all members of the team were given the opportunity to stay.
Every single person as a member of that team was put in a situation where they were just with Home Affairs officials, where the people who might put pressure on them were nowhere near them at all, and they were given a choice.
An investigation is underway after shots were fired at the US Embassy in Toronto. Police finding evidence a firearm had been discharged outside the building after they were called to the incident. An active brand, Lululemon, has been fined more than $700,000 for breaching anti-spam laws. The communication watchdog finding the brand sent over 370,000 emails to customers with no way for them to unsubscribe. ACMA Authority member Samantha York says in addition to the financial penalty, Lululemon has entered into a court enforceable undertaking,
which essentially obliges them to carry out an independent review of their spam rule compliance and to regularly report to the ACMA on the implementation of the recommended improvements.
Lululemon says it's working with ACMA and has changed its procedures. Turning to 5AA Sport.
Get to Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes for the Outlander ES. Drive away from just $39,990.
In his activewear, here is Tom Wren.
Yeah, absolutely. Not doing it too well either, Matty. Let's start with some basketball because a stunning performance from Bryce Cotton has helped the Adelaide 36ers record a 104-97 win against the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. That was in game one of their best-of-3 semi-final series at home last night. Cotton was asked what his motivation behind his performance was post-game.
Yeah, it's just wanting to win. I think it led me to play and take whatever the defense gave me, but like Mike said, it was a collective effort.
He was outstanding. Game 2 will be played in Melbourne on Saturday. Let's get to footy. Port Adelaide coach Josh Carr says his players are adapting well to his new game plan. The Power will take on North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium for their season opener on Sunday. Carr telling Rowie and Timmy G they're going well to what he's trying to implement.
It's fresh for them, but it's also exciting for them to learn new things and a new way to play. So I think they've embraced it. I think there's been, the club's well led by some really, really good leaders for that playing group.
And the Power are confident Jack Lukosius and Miles Bergman will be okay to play after missing the final pre-season clash against West Coast. Meantime, the tribunal has upheld a 3-game suspension handed to Brisbane co-captain Harris Andrews and a 1-game ban for Darcy Gardner. Let's get to soccer. Plenty of European Champions League action on this morning. Liverpool has lost 1-0 to Galatasaray. That was in the opening leg of their round of 16 knockout tie. In other matches that are currently underway, Atletico Madrid is already 4-1 up against Tottenham. That's after just half an hour, while Bayern Munich leads Atalanta 3-0 and it's 0-0 between Newcastle and Barcelona. And in some cricket to finish, the Dean Jones One Day Cup Trophy will be decided today with Tasmania hosting New South Wales. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking the roads around Adelaide this morning.
Cluedo the Play at Her Majesty's Theatre from 21 March. 2 weeks only. Don't miss out. Book now.
Morning there at Salisbury East, a crash at Main North Road near Park Terrace, another burst water main at Marston, South Road near Everard Avenue, and pretty slow at the moment, the Port River Expressway through Gilman into Port Adelaide, the Birkenhead Bridge going up over the Port River at the moment. Camera 2 this morning, Days Road, Regency Park. The big one is back until March 31. Get an unbeatable finance offer across the MY25 Extra range. T's and C's apply. Hurry to your Nissan dealer today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic. On 5AA.
Stuck in traffic? Road trip differently in the Northern Territory. northernterritory.com/drive.
Partly cloudy, 26 today, cloudy and 23 tomorrow, sunny 24 on Friday and 29 over the weekend. Right now, 20 degrees, 5AA, always Adelaide.
Setting the agenda for South Australia. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 after 7, good morning to you. If you're joining us for the first time on this Wednesday, the 11th of March, you've tuned in at a good time. We have the rumour file coming up. If you've got a rumour for us, we've got a triple pack of the Shotfire range from Thorne Clark, a magnificent winery, great drop. You just need to give us the good oil, 8223 Get calling now. You can remain totally anonymous. Paddy and Em will walk you through the process, seamless, and you can find yourself in the possession of those cracking wines. Also, Sean Fust will go around the courts with Sean after 7:30. Before 8 o'clock, Koshy will be on the program. Big membership drive for Port Adelaide this week. Of course, Rowie and Timmy G are tonight giving away the new Gather Round jumpers before they are publicly available, but also lots to talk about in certainly the most volatile period for markets, the most sustained volatile period for markets in my lifetime. I mean, there's obviously been Black Monday. There's been, in the 80s, there's been things like the subprime mortgage. There's been the dot-com crash. But as far as...
that happened in the 1930s as well.
Well, I mean, I said in my lifetime.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry, Will. I wasn't suggesting you've never heard of the Great Depression.
But just in terms
we've all worked out that your economic credentials mean we can presume you're aware that happened.
Sustained volatility, though, just every day. It's a tweet here on oil making it through the Strait, and the barrel price jump. It is just unprecedented what social media has done to the world of financial markets. So we'll talk about that with Koshy very, very shortly. Big day for FIVEAA as well today, because we are tonight celebrating 50 years of FIVEAA. The official date is Saturday, so be good to tune in KG and Cornsey, who have been around for the longest part of that 50 years than as anyone. But tonight, big night where we celebrate 50 years of operating here in South Australia for FIVEAA.
1976. What were you doing in 1976, folks? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
Good year, 1976. Good year for local footy. Great grand final, the 1976 grand final. Still the biggest ever crowd at a sporting event in South Australia. An unfancied Sturt beat Port Adelaide.
That was the day everyone sat inside the boundary.
The kids sitting on the grass, yeah.
I think
we'd have listeners.
90% of people who were born in South Australia believe they were at that game, if you ask them.
Right, exactly.
It's
like everyone who's my age claims that they saw Nirvana at the Febby.
Exactly right.
Except I did. So there you go.
There you go. All right, well, we got a little countdown for you of some of the iconic things that have happened over the last 50 years here in South Australia.
FIVEAA turns 50. A lot has happened in that time.
In 1978, Vietnamese refugees fleeing the aftermath of war began arriving in South Australia.
When I left Vietnam, goodbye to my parents, goodbye to my sister, goodbye to my country.
Mom decided that at any cost, we must escape.
Many were housed at the migrant hostel in Pennington in Adelaide's western suburbs. For families who had escaped by boat and spent months in camps, the hostel was a place of safety and new beginnings.
When they saw us, they waved at us. One of them raised his stubby up as if proposing a toast. And he shouted out, "G'day, mate. Welcome to Australia."
From Pennington, they built new lives, businesses and communities, permanently shaping Adelaide's cultural and social landscape.
Connected to our community for 50 years. FIVEAA, always Adelaide.
What a wonderful contribution they've made, of course, Hugh Van Lee, who could forget, one of the great governors we've had here in South Australia.
I think too, and this isn't a pointed partisan comment, I'm sure it'll be taken as such by some more thin-skinned souls with a burning passion for a certain political party. But don't you reckon the Vietnamese are just a cracking example of people fitting in?
Completely.
Like, how many Vietnamese people do you know who are second generation, you talk to them and it's like, how you going? Like, they got no accent. They're holding all sorts of diverse jobs. And I tell you what, with with food being the first thing that unites people, breaks down barriers and makes us interested in other cultures, having made a discovery yesterday, I had never been to this place before, and I tell you, it changed my life. Tay Do in Flinders Street. Have you ever been there? Tay Do.
Oh, no, I have not.
Banh mi heaven, with all sorts of different fillings, like the beef ball and everything else. Can you imagine Australia without banh mis?
It's not an Australia worth considering.
It's not, is it?
No. Our trades would grind to a halt. In fact, I think...
How many high-vis blokes do you see walking around town with banh mis?
I think the Australian construction industry would cease to exist if banh mis weren't here.
Totally.
This is a good idea, actually. 8223 0000. Spruik, your best banh mi joint in Adelaide. These things, everyone's got a good one near them. Or the nice thing about them is there are so many. There's subtle differences between them, and there are some that are just I can think of. There's one that immediately comes to mind for me. I'd like to hear some people. 8223 your best banh mi, Joy.
I have to say, I've got an emotional attachment to Goody Goody Yum Yum in Wayville, mainly because I just love the people. So there's the mum who would have been one of the original Vietnamese people from the 1970s, but her daughter Anna, like their kids, they go to the local Catholic school. You know, they're involved in school sport. We talk about all sorts of stuff when we're in there. And because I often go in because I've become addicted to Vietnamese iced coffee. I just love that stuff. At 3 o'clock every afternoon, I need one or I'll collapse. But often they just say, "I take a couple of the rolls we've got left over for kids to make them hot dogs." Yeah. They're just so nice. Yeah. They're such nice people.
Awesome. And I know it's not strictly banh mi, but Vietnam restaurant, Addison Road.
Oh, have you had the quail there?
Oh my goodness, that place is just remarkable. It is awesome.
And what an institution. That's been there since the dawn of time.
It has been. It has been. All right, Spruik, your favourite banh mi joints, 8223 Get calling now. In the meantime, let's talk about petrol prices because what we've seen in South Australia and Australia is, I think, an interesting study in how prices move because there hasn't been a particularly strong correlation between oil barrel price and pump price, which would suggest that consumer behaviour is playing an outsized role in determining what the prices are here. Peter Natras is the Principal Advisor for Energy at the RAA and joins us now. Peter, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So we've seen prices at the barrel price moderate significantly from the highs of the weekend. Petrol's still up. What do you expect to happen, without expecting you to predict the outcome of the Iran war, but in the immediate term over the course of the rest of this week, what are you expecting to see with petrol prices?
Well, with petrol prices, we still see there's a significant disconnect between the barrel price and the wholesale price being fed through to motorists at the bowser, because what we've seen is since the middle of February we've seen a jump of about 36 cents in the wholesale price in Adelaide. But we've actually seen a retail. Our motorists are spending 60 to 70 cents extra a litre, so twice the increase in the wholesale. Now that's where we're seeing motorists really feeling the pain and feeling the panic. So we've seen that spike in the oil price the other day that went all the way up to $1.14, $1.19, and now it's back at $90 or $86 for the West Texas. So we don't see how this oil price can be just justifying the current retail price in Adelaide. So we'd expect the prices for petrol, they should moderate below, say, $2, so down from the average right now, about $2.17. They should be around that $2 mark.
Peter, what's your take on whether there's any profiteering or silly buggers going on here? I mean, we've had calls for the ACCC to step in. Do you think those calls are warranted?
We'll certainly welcome the federal government's direction for the ACCC to be watching this. And this is where we see that the South Australian government's real-time pricing scheme is so important, why it was so welcomed on the weekend when that was their commitment to further compliance was announced. Because what that's catching is whenever they change their price, there's now a central database where we can go back, or the ACCC can go back and look at those prices relative to a wholesale price. And it's going to be the ACCC that will determine gouging. And so we think that retailers are very much on notice, that the data is there, the digital fingerprints, and we would hope that they're held accountable if there is found to be gouging.
Good stuff, Peter. Peter Natras, the RAA Principal Advisor, Energy. Phil in Henley Beach, and I'll read this out because good on you for asking, Phil. There's never any shame in asking a question if you don't know something, and some of our other listeners are probably in the same boat. Phil says, what the hell is a banh mi? Well, if you don't know, banh mi, it's like one of the great fusion foods with France having colonised Vietnam. So it's basically a light baguette roll, like a French bread roll.
Yeah, Vietnamese roll.
And inside, normally pork, fatty pork with crackling on it, or lemongrass chicken. And then the vegetables you get are shredded carrot, shredded white radish, that daikon stuff that the Japanese use a lot, some cucumber, some coriander, some Vietnamese sauce, And sometimes they put a bit of pate on it, again, with the French link there. But they are just so popular. 10 years ago, they were an obscure food. Now they're totally mainstream. And they cost about $7 as well, if you get them at the right place.
We've had about 300 texts of people with recommendations. It's unbelievable. Let's take some calls. Yuri in Beaumont, spruik your best banh mi joint.
Got it, geez. How are you, boys?
Good, thanks, Yuri.
I tell you what, without a doubt, the best one I've ever tried. The bread is perfect, and all the ingredients that Mr. Pemberthy just said. But the amount of crackling pork, I get one from, as I said, it's the banh mi across the road from the Burnside Council Chambers on Port Roach Road. You go past at lunchtime, there's 10, 15, 20 people waiting. I cannot believe they give you so much in the rolls, but there's so much. Someone must be cooking pork belly 24/7. I tell you, absolutely incredible. It's the best.
Good on you, Yuri. That was well spruiked, my friend. That was excellent work. Let's go to Mitcham. Warwick, good morning.
Yeah, g'day, boys. I'm going to back Yuri up on this. Exactly the same place.
Wow.
Oh, really? Magnificent. Yeah, absolutely magnificent. You need a forklift to lift those banh mi.
I did not expect it to arrive the same place. Warwick, thank you for that.
That's quite the endorsement. I tell you what, should we read some of the texts out?
Yeah, let's do it.
Many.
Just fire through a couple of quick ones.
Okay, Huang at Royal Park, Rolls on the Run, Curtis Road, Manopara, the Hang Bakery, Torrensville, Saigon Vietnamese Rolls, Vietnam Village, Port Road, Bite Me on Unley Road, Beetle Leaf. Beetle Leaf's been mentioned in dispatches before.
Yep, down my way.
On Grange Road. Banh Mi Kitchen, hidden away in the back streets of Christie's, is always busy. Temptation on Goody Road, Door Park. Oh, yeah, I've had one there. It's good. A lot of people. Real Rolls, Hanson Road. Get this.
Oh, yeah.
A Viet Philly cheesesteak. Scotch beef fillet grilled with capsicum and onion layered with creamy provolone cheese, chili, mayo, and aioli.
You know who does a good one? Roll on Bower Road. That's a good spot. And
oh, yeah, yep.
Yeah, I like that. They do some good stuff. The other thing, the origin of this conversation was the 1976 date that FIVEAA has been operating for 50 years. Terry in Clemsig's called in. Terry, what were you up to in 1976?
Yeah, g'day, boys. You just reminded me then. I nearly forgot myself. 1976, I just finished my apprenticeship with Davey Dunlight down at Highmarsh there as a fitter and turner.
Oh, wow, mate. Did you keep doing that throughout the rest of your career?
Yeah, unfortunately. About 45 years of it.
Oh, mate.
We used to make generators from the ground up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we used to make the bases. Then we used to do the stator housings and armatures and wind the armatures, do everything. So that was a sad loss when Dunlight ended up closing.
I was going to say, Terry, it sounds like the type of sort of more old-fashioned traditional manufacturing, like a lot of the heavy car-related stuff around Edwardstown and that all disappeared with globalisation.
Yeah, it was actually, because when I first started, we started in Frome Street in the city.
Yeah.
And we had in the basement, they used to repair pumps, like Davey do the swimming pool pumps.
Yeah.
So they used to repair the pumps down there. Then there was the machine shop on the ground floor. Then there was the inspection and tool room on the next floor. And the next floor after that was the sheet metal shop.
Yeah, right. So it was all.
So it was a full number from start to finish.
Yeah,
we used to do a lot of army contracts after work.
Well,
everything, the generators for the army were all made out of aluminium.
We might need you to pick up the tools again, Terry. They're talking about shortages at Osborne, mate. So,
right.
Keep that knowledge handy. Exactly right. Good on you, Terry.
You want to do a few shifts down at Osborne in 10 years' time, they'll have you, mate.
I was reading the Australian Naval Infrastructure report yesterday. The biggest fear they have in building these things is people with trade experience and existing skills. It is a task so great. I don't think anyone has their head around the number of people that have skills like Terry's had his whole life that are going to be required to make this happen. It's bigger than anything this country's ever tried to do before.
Yeah.
It's happening here in Adelaide. It's going to be unbelievable. Mark in Richmond, good morning. Spruik a banh mi joint for us, Mark.
Oh, absolutely, Will. Hey, David. TD Rolls down at Arndale behind the bus station there. I tell you, they've been there for about 25, 30 years that we used to go down there on a Sunday morning at around about 11 because they were always open till 1 o'clock. And I'd often go and get 3. one for the walk back to the bus station, one sitting on the bus, and then one on the way home back to when I got off at North Adelaide on the 252, 253.
Excellent,
That
mate.
is magnificent
TD
work.
rolls.
Mark, thank you. We appreciate all these coming through. We're going to desperately try to get to them all.
Good luck with that. We'll be broadcasting at 5 o'clock.
Oh, no, I meant we're going to go try them all over the course of the rest of our lives, because let's see how many suggestions
I've written
we've
a few
got. All right, let's check traffic. Is your car battery dead? We'll call Batteries Direct, and they'll come to you anytime with a new affordable battery install.
Morning there. It's Salisbury East to Crash, Main North Road near Park Terrace, Marston, Burstwater Main, South Road near Everard Avenue. Porter Expressway is still quite busy heading in through Gilman this morning. That's due to the Birkenhead Bridge being up, and got cameras this morning, Crittenden Road, Finton, and Days Road, Ferryden Park. The Audi Open House Demonstrator Sale event is on now. Receive generous contributions across a wide range of Audi models until March 31 at your preferred Audi dealer. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Graham Goodings.
A major embarrassment for the Malinauskas government over the weekend when Health Minister Chris Picton was caught out trying to discredit a grieving widow who claimed the health system had failed her partner. The Premier ruled out Health Minister Chris Picton being forced to step down. He feels pretty bad about it.
Graham Goodings.
So the Minister feels pretty bad about it. How does he think grieving widow Bronwyn Patterson is feeling?
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Renovating your bathroom, kitchen or laundry is exciting. It's the bit after that's annoying. Cleaning and scrubbing mould out of grout. Well, if you choose Mr. Wet Wall now instead of tiles, you'll have a lot less to do later. With Mr. Wet Wall, there's no grout, just a stunning, smooth surface that's stylish and 100% waterproof. It's quicker to install, so it costs less, and there's zero mess. So why wouldn't you, Mr. Wet Wall? MrWetWall.com.
Hi, it's Eddie May here from NRG Solar. When it comes to power bills, NRG Solar understands that South Australian businesses are feeling the pinch too. The Cheaper Home Battery program isn't just for homeowners. Eligible businesses can access those savings as well. NRG Solar takes a consultative approach with commercial customers, starting with how your business uses power, then designing a solar and battery solution that makes financial sense. Talk to NRG Solar and see what a solar and battery solution can do for your business. Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Running a business is hard enough without chasing staff, and that's where Indeed comes in. With Indeed, you can easily find the right people for your team. You can post jobs and pay only when your budget allows.
Best of all, there's flexible pricing, and that means Indeed has a pay-as-you-go system with no locked-in long-term expensive contracts. Businesses are loving this. Head to Indeed.com/200 for a $200 credit to make your next hire easier. Terms and conditions apply, so check them out today. Indeed.com/200.
When you're gone, who gets the things you've worked hard all your life for? Like the family farm, the holiday home, or your cherished trailer sailor. If you don't plan now, it could be messy when you're gone. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, Donlan Lawyers will give effect to your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
G'day, Alan Gray here. Speaking mechanic to mechanic, we all know four-wheel drive safety starts with how well a vehicle handles and stops. Too often we see four-wheel drive setting off on the big family getaway, overloaded and underprepared. It's time to get Terrain Tamer ready with the right stopping power. For safety's sake, Terrain Tamer have loads of upgraded braking solutions, including larger calipers, heavy-duty pads, dual brake boosters, rotors and braided brake lines. To find out more, go to terraintamer.com.
Hi, Nick Xenophon here. Yep, a blast from the past. And I'm speaking out now because with this state election, it's so important to have a strong, independent voice in the upper house that can call out the BS. And that's Connie Benares from SA Best, the party I started almost 10 years ago. So like me, when you're voting in the upper house on that big white ballot paper, vote 1 in Box C above the line. That's Box C for Connie Benares of SA Best.
Authorised by C. Benares, 7169 Unley Road, Unley, SA 5061. Published by SA Best.
Here's an important air conditioning tip from Morford Air. Never give your teenagers control over the aircon remote. Your energy bills could go through the roof. Instead, for summer, set it around 21 degrees. It's the most energy efficient temperature. And if you turn it on early, before the teens are out of bed, your system will have less work to do, keeping your home cool all day. When it's too hot or cold to bear, reach for the Morford Air.
morfettair.com.au.
Morfett Air. Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Wednesday morning rumours time, all thanks to the wonderful people at Thorn Clark Wines. We've got a shot fire range to give away, the triple pack of the shot fire range. Home there at Thorn Clark, boutique, family-owned, Barossa-grown, thornclarkwines.com.au. Can of Coke, good morning.
Good morning, boys. I've actually got 2 rumours for you this morning, so you're going to get a double dose of it. A proposal's been put in for one of the tram stops at Port Road there at Thebarton. Now, the tram stop, there's actually 3 of them. There's Thebarton, Benithan Park and Entertainment Centre. Anyway, the Benithan Park one, there's a proposal being put in to change it to Southwark to coincide with the development now. So there's a proposal put in for that. Second rumour is where Coca-Cola used to be, now there's going to be a medical hub there, surgery, research centre and everything, but they're looking for a tenant to sign the contract, but they haven't got a tenant yet, so they haven't started building.
Okay. That's
There you
interesting. A lot going on in that neck of the woods.
Well, it's going to be a huge medical precinct once the Women's and Children's Hospital was built there. I think a lot of people drive past that at the moment and think, oh, it's coming together well. And it's only the car park that's being built there at the moment. That big construction site you can see is just the car park. You get no sense of how huge that whole area is going to be from the RA through to the Women's and Children's. So there should be medical stuff in the area. It makes sense.
I heard a good rumour that Villiers has bought the Rivergum building on Richmond Road, and that it's going to be turned into some new mega Villiers centre with a new restaurant down the bottom and all sorts of exciting Villiers-related stuff.
That's
Sounds
my kind of rumour.
Yeah.
Idiot Box, good morning.
Morning, guys. Well, I'm calling the end of the world. I know all the shenanigans happening at Iraq and all over the Middle East and all that rubbish happening, but the final piece of the puzzle has just dropped. Nathan Fillion and the cast of Firefly have just come out after 23 years and said we're going to get season 2 of Firefly on things. So I tell you what, I wouldn't put it past those Epstein Island mob to just stick the final dagger in and greenlight Firefly just before the world ends.
You're obviously a big fan, Idiot Box.
Oh, indeed.
I'm out.
It's got a cult.
I
haven't watched it, but Firefly got a cult following, and all the legend of it very much is that it was prematurely. They just didn't make another season, and it had a lot more legs. So there would be a lot of people in Idiot Box's neck of the woods feeling like that'd be right. We finally get the show we've dreamt of right as the world's on the cusp of ending, which may be an overstatement. But Idiot Box, thank you. Who gets the triple pack of the Thorn Clark wines?
Let's give it to Idiot Box.
Idiot Box, you've got them coming your way. The Shop Fire range. Check out thornclarkwines.com.au.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy, 26 today with the 7:30 news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Had a collision? Get in touch with Premier Panel Services and have your car returned to its former beauty.
A young man has died in a workplace accident at Monarto South. Senior Constable Matt Brown says emergency crews were called to an agricultural facility on Pope Road last night.
A 24-year-old man was found with critical injuries and despite the efforts of paramedics, sadly died at the scene, and police are preparing a report for the coroner, and Safe Work SA have been advised and there's no suspicious circumstances surrounding the man's death.
Meantime, Gulfland View is closed at Morfett Vale following a single vehicle crash at 1:30 this morning. There's been another serious crash at Hope Gap in the state's mid-north, a truck crashing on the Augusta Highway. The driver taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The federal government maintains Australia's military role in the United Arab Emirates is defensive and not offensive. A high-tech surveillance jet, air-to-air missiles and 85 defence personnel will be part of the month-long support mission. Defence Minister Richard Marles says will help the UAE monitor enemy rockets so they can be intercepted. Mr Marles says the move will help protect people, including thousands of Australians in the region.
The UAE is a country with whom we have a very close and friendly relationship. It is home to 24,000 Australians. It's one of our largest expat communities anywhere in the world. It's a place which has hosted an operational headquarters for the ADF for many, many years.
Fuel shortages and price hikes are creating headaches for farmers on the cusp of harvesting summer crops. There are concerns grocery prices could increase if they're unable to access fuel to operate machinery. National Farmers Federation President Hamish McIntyre telling Today it's a difficult situation.
We as farmers, of course, have a situation where we've got to get our crops off and in a timely manner. We're at the moment, the middle of the summer crop harvest, which is particularly sorghum, corn, cotton. It's a peak period for us and for fuel demand, and we just, again, are frustrated.
Another 2 flights from Dubai have touched down in Melbourne and Sydney this morning. Travellers continuing to leave the Middle East. A further 3 flights will leave the region later today. About 3,000 Australians have now arrived home since the conflict began just over a week ago. The coalition will endure another leadership change, this time the Nationals to choose a new captain. More from Federal Politics editor Michael Packey.
A few months ago, Nationals leader David Littleproud blew up the coalition for a second time, saying he couldn't work with then Liberal leader Susan Lee. Ms Lee subsequently quit politics and Angus Taylor has stepped into her role. Now, Mr Littleproud says he's exhausted and can't continue as Nat's leader, with the junior coalition partner set to choose a replacement at a party room meeting this morning. The 49-year-old will serve the rest of his parliamentary term representing the Queensland seat of Maranoa.
It's been a restless night for Bundaberg residents in Queensland, bracing for a disaster on par with the 2010 flooding. The Burnett River expected to reach a height of an incredible 7.6 metres, 280 homes, 120 businesses in the path of the rising water. While the worst of the system is expected to clear today, authorities warn it will be a while before things return to normal. Turning to 5AA Sport.
Get to Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes for the Outlander ES. Drive away from just $39,990.
A lot of action at Hindmarsh last night, Tom Wren.
And it was amazing, wasn't it, Matty? A huge night for the Adelaide 36ers, winning game 1 of their semi-final series against the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, 104-97. Bryce Cotton led the way with 42 points. Game 2 will be played in Melbourne on Saturday. To football, Zach Merritt insists he still loves and adores Essendon as the former captain prepares to face Hawthorn, the club he wanted a trade to during the off-season. Coach Brad Scott has rejected suggestions he had a relationship breakdown with the 30-year-old. The Bombers midfielder telling Fox Footy he's had to smooth over relationships with teammates Mason Redman and Nick Martin during the off-season.
Probably 2 or 3 weeks later, we caught up with Andy McGrath and Kyle Langford and just talked about everything. They put all their cards on the table around their frustrations, and then I sort of gave them a little bit more context than they probably knew. And I think the learning for me was I should have been more upfront through the back end of the season with how I was feeling.
The tribunal, meantime, has upheld a 3-game suspension handed to Brisbane co-captain Harris Andrews and a 1-game ban for Darcy Gardner. Well, things are going from bad to catastrophic for Tottenham. The English club has a big chance to be relegated in the English Premier League, and they're currently playing a knockout tie against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. And they've found themselves 3-0 down after only 15 minutes, with young goalkeeper Antonin Kinski making 2 absolute howlers. That was at the back where he passed the ball directly to opposition players, allowing them to score.
Oh dear, Kinski again! Scarcely believable the way that Tottenham Hotspur are collapsing here. That young man is having an absolute nightmare in the Spanish capital.
That's an understatement. Audio thanks to Stan Sport. Now, that goal prompted the coach to sub the 22-year-old out of the game. Spurs are now 4-1 down, while in other games, Newcastle's locked at 0-0 against Barcelona, while earlier Galatasaray beat Liverpool 1-0. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Hell, it doesn't come close, does it, when you see the footage?
My goodness.
I know,
Horrific.
Let's have a look at the roads around Adelaide on 5AA.
Pluto the Play at Her Majesty's Theatre from 21 March. 2 weeks only. Don't miss out. Book now.
Morning, there are Salisbury is to crash Main North Road near Park Terrace. Burst water main still getting sorted at Marston this morning. South Road near Everard Avenue. Busy at the moment. South Road Tonsley's get off the Southern Expressway, and sluggish the parade at Norwood coming inbound to the city. Cameras, Pym Street, Dudley Park and Gawler Road, Virginia. Get Blackmore's half price off RRP right now at Chemist Warehouse. Excludes box sizes. Sell-ins today. Chemist Warehouse, great savings every day. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Stuck in traffic? Road trip differently in the Northern Territory. northernterritory.com/drive.
Partly cloudy today and 26, cloudy 23 tomorrow, sunny 24 for Friday, 29 over the weekend. Right now, 21, 5AA, always Adelaide.
It's been a busy 4 years for Labor. We hired thousands more doctors, nurses and ambos and added hundreds more beds to our health system. That's the equivalent of a whole new hospital. We introduced 3-year-old kindy and led the world in banning kids from social media. We abolished stamp duty for thousands of first home buyers and gave more rights to renters. We're building a non-stop South Road. We banned puppy farms and political donations and those annoying robocalls. All of that in just 4 years. Imagine 4 more. Authorised A. Burke, Australian Labor Party, Adelaide.
For those whose pool is the main feature of their yard, Walco offer a special mesh cover to keep debris and leaves out while making your pool area look stunning all through winter. Join the great cover-up and ask Walco about their stylish new mesh pool covers. walco.com.au.
In this cost of living mess, you know it really gets people fired up? Paying a tradie a call-out fee before they've even lifted a finger. You're already under financial pressure, and before anyone even looks at the problem, bang, $150 just to show up. That's why we like Precise.
Precise don't charge call-out fees, none, zero. They respect people's budgets. They actually come out, assess the job, give you the price up front. Only then do you decide if you want to go ahead. No surprises or bill shock, no mystery hours added. That's why Adelaide trusts Precise for plumbing, electrical, hot water and AC.
So if something needs fixing but you've been holding off because you're worried about what it might cost, well, don't stress. Book a free call-out with Precise and at least know where you stand. Respectful service, upfront pricing, no call-out fees. That's Precise. Call Precise on 1300 700 200 or visit preciseservices.com.au.
Hi, Brett Ebert here for Mawson Lakes Mazda. There's a lot to like about Mawson Lakes Mazda. They'll take care of you with next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash. And your breakfast or lunch is on them. Your car gets the love too with their state-of-the-art service centre, brimming with top-trained mechanics. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, they'll look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
There's something about a good local. Walking in and knowing you're in the right place. That's the Piermount Group of Hotels. 8 neighbourhood favourites. The Albion, the Australasian, the Belair, the Flagstaff, Mansfield Park, the Sterling, the Marriotteville and the Seaton. Each with great hospitality, good food and that familiar feeling. Download Piermount's First Draft loyalty app for perks, rewards, surprises and your first drink is on them with a $10 sign-up bonus. Explore everything on offer at piermount.com.au.
Thanks to you, Fluorio Milk Company celebrates an incredible milestone. 20 years. For 2 decades, local farming families have woken before sunrise, worked through drought and rising costs, so we can all enjoy the freshest milk available. So, when you choose Fluorio Milk Company, you're part of that 20-year legacy too. Backing local farms, local jobs and local families. Look for Fluorio Milk Company products at your supermarket and let's keep a good thing going.
Are your energy levels not what they used to be? Are you constantly dragging yourself to get through the day? Caruso's NMN 500 to the rescue. Caruso's NMN 500 is a one-a-day formula that helps your body produce NAD+, a coenzyme vital for cellular energy production that naturally declines as you age. So if you're tired of feeling tired, try Caruso's NMN 500 today from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
You can rent a little, you can rent a lot.
Whatever you're doing, wherever you're going, you can rely on Red Spot to get you there. We're the all-Aussie family-owned car rental company in airport terminals and cities across Australia with a new fleet and 100% local Aussie service. And right now, Red Spot is giving you spot-on savings of 15% off every vehicle at every location. Book direct and save at redspot.com.au/radio. T's and C's apply.
Red Sponge.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, FIVEAA Breakfast.
17 minutes to 8, David Koch coming up very shortly, but first...
It's time to go around the courts with Sean Fuster on 5AA Breakfast.
I can't think of too many times over the course of the, what are we at now, 11-year history of Around the Courts that we've had politics and the courts fuse in such a way as the Annabelle Digance, Peter Malinowskis story. And Sean Fuster's been covering it better than anyone from the very, very beginning and joins us again now. Chief Court Reporter of the Tiser. Sean, good morning to you.
Good morning. Yeah, look, and we might have an ending, maybe. Just maybe, but maybe not either.
So walk us through what happened yesterday, because on the face of it, it looked like a significant blow to the Digance's cause, Sean.
It was probably the most significant blow you could imagine, Pembo. This was what's called a summary dismissal, where, as Mr. Malinowskis and the government have been doing, they walked into the court multiple times and said, there is no case here. There is no reasonable basis to argue on any of the evidence that's available that Premier Peter Malinowskis caused this prosecution, that he manipulated this prosecution, that he arranged this prosecution, that he directed this prosecution, that anybody was acting at his orders, at his instructions for the sole purpose of achieving political gain. They said as a result it just needs to be thrown out. It's an abusive process. Annabelle Digance was arguing, no, there are legitimate issues that need to be tested here. There's evidence from the criminal trial that didn't go ahead that we can bring forward. And on top of things, she said, seeing the criminal trial resolved in my favour, the prosecution therefore must have been malicious, because otherwise I would have gone all the way through to trial in the criminal matter. But the Supreme Court found differently. It said, well, the only reason that it resolved in your favour, and it wasn't really in your favour, was because you agreed to a plea bargain which saw the whole thing dropped in exchange for you promising to stay away from Mr. Malinowskis and his family. That can't be considered a positive outcome on your end. And the big thing, and the thing that I think is really important going forward, the court made a positive ruling that just because someone's a politician, just because someone's in a position of power, authority or influence, when they go to police saying, someone is allegedly doing something to me, they get no special status. They don't have the power or ability in a formal way or even a de facto way to tell the police what to do. The police will still make their decisions as they make their decisions. And that ruling means that you can't get favoritism. You can't get special treatment. You can't assume that you're going to be able to call the shots. You are no different than any other person who is involved in an alleged criminal act, and you'll get treated the same way.
Sean, your reporting suggests that the Digances are either openly flagging or at least looking at the possibility of an appeal. Would it go to the heart of that decision that was made, or is there some other error of law that they've identified?
Well, the court did leave open for Mrs. Digance to continue part of her claim against South Australia Police. She was also complaining about the way that certain things happened to do with the arrest, with the investigation, with the media and publicity surrounding all those things. And those avenues are still open to Mrs. Digance if she wants to continue her case against South Australia Police and South Australia Police only. But in terms of an appeal, she said in an email statement late yesterday that she's instructed her counsel to look at the prospect of an appeal. To your point, Will, I don't really see what room there is for that. Obviously, we all know I'm no lawyer and I never claim to have any legal knowledge, but looking at the judgment of the Supreme Court, it does appear to have closed off all the doors, referring to some pretty well settled and pretty long-standing legal precedent. I'd find it very hard to believe at this stage, without a very cogent argument, that you're going to find anything in that judgment that's worthy of overturning and reactivating the primary part of this, which is the attempt to bring Mr. Malinowskis into this malicious prosecution allegation.
I mean, the fact that it didn't even get to court at all, really, I mean, that's about as bad as it gets for a case, isn't it, where they say there's no point even pursuing this?
Absolutely. No reasonable grounds. It's like saying the paper on which you printed this wasn't worth submitting to the court. You didn't actually have an argument in the first place. You thought you did, but you didn't. It's the biggest and most respectful backhand that a court can give to say that there is no reasonable grounds to kick on.
Mm. Yeah, well, as you say, though, Sean, might not quite be the final chapter, but it very much looks like it in terms of the chances of future legal action succeeding. Thanks.
Well, one of the things I said to the Premier was, didn't after all this, all you ever wanted was the Digansers to leave you alone. Is that still the case? And he said, that'd be nice. Whether or not that happens remains to be seen.
Yeah. Hey, mate, you shouldn't sell yourself short. You might not have legal training, but you have an abundance of legal knowledge. That's why we get you on the show, and that's why people love this segment so much.
Appreciate that, mate.
Good on you, Sean. Sean Fewster, the Chief Court Reporter for the Adelaide Advertiser.
The host of Just Lawful, of course, which you can catch wherever you can get podcasts from. Star of the Nova Network.
Totally. Now, we've been talking about 1976, 50-year anniversary of the foundation of FIVEAA. Got a big celebration tonight, which is going to be a lot of fun. All the head honchos from Sydney are flying over. Always great to catch up with them. But how about this? Asking people what they were doing in 1976. Joe in Henley Beach has sent us this, and I tell you, Terry, we hope you're listening. Please don't tell us you've ducked out to, pick the paper up out of the driveway, or you're not in the kitchen making a cup of tea.
Just say something about John Howard. It summons him like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's actually the 30th anniversary of John Howard.
Well,
maybe I
there you
could
go.
talk about that glowingly just to upset Terry. But no, Joe in Henley Beach says, gents, 50 years ago, my dad will be too modest to mention this, but he was winning the male medal.
Terry!
Daughter of Terry from Henley Beach. So Joe has dobbed in her old man, Terry. Terry's a
gun footballer.
We had no idea.
Love that. Love when family members dominate our regulars.
So who was Terry playing for?
Yeah, we need more information.
Come on, Terry. Spill the beans.
Speaking of 1976, Ben Jordan makes this observation too, and you can see this on there. That we've still got the plaque somewhere of the original when 5AA was opened as a radio station. But Ben Jordan makes the excellent point that over the course of the last 15 minutes, two of the original sponsors of 5AA have got a mention on the program: Arndale Kilkenny and Coca-Cola Amatil.
Yeah, right.
Both mentioned during the rumour segment.
Wow.
But both actual original sponsors.
Wow.
Look at that. Product placement 50 years on.
Stuff?
I don't know how Ben Jordan knows this stuff. He's unbelievable. All right, let's check traffic. Car battery dead? Call Batteries Direct and they'll come to you anytime with a new affordable battery installed.
Morning there at Marston, a burst water main today, South Road near Everard Avenue. Got road plates in use at Ashford this morning. It's on Anzac Highway heading into the city just near the hospital. That'll get very slow. And works at Burton to look out for too. Port Wakefield Road near Burton Road. Early morning camera, Gawler Road, Virginia too. MG's mega celebration. Get the MG3 from $20,990 or the ZS Vibe from $22,990. T's and C's apply. See your MG dealer today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi, I'm Mark Aldridge from United Voice Australia Party. We're a team of experienced advocates seeking to unite everybody together in the community. We have innovative and compassionate policies to address affordable housing, power, cost of living, homelessness and unity. And our ailing health system needs more than just a few beds. Whether it's animal welfare, voting reform, protecting farmers or community safety, vote United Voice Australia and enjoy responsible policies. Spoken and authorised by M. Aldridge for United Voice Australia, Lot 105 Taylors Road, Penfield Gardens, 5121.
Whatever your morning looks like, own it with Up and Go Liquid Breakfast. Braving the bus or carving a wave, battling rush hour or feeling the rush of your favourite trail. Fueled with the protein, fibre and vitamins you need to get up and go.
Here's some breaking news. Chai lattes and a chocolate brownie, they're good for you. Maybe not when it comes to the calories, but they're good for the soul. Cafe Hoppability in Fullerton is operated by Holistic Care SA and provides meaningful and rewarding jobs for keen workers who live with disability. If you're in the Fullerton area, make Cafe Hoppability your go-to cafe for breakfast, brunch or lunch.
They also do catering for corporate lunches and functions. It's a great option for all the local businesses in the east. And remember, when you choose Cafe Hoppability, you're doing a generous deed so you can grab a second brownie guilt-free.
Next lunch break, or if you happen to need some catering done, do something that's good for you and others. Cafe Hoppability, Fullerton Road, Kent Town, just up from the roundabout.
Hi, Daniel Talia here, General Manager of Home. That's HAUME. Put simply, we buy homes. If you've received a letter from us in your mailbox, Don't throw it away. You may be throwing away a golden opportunity to sell your home at market value. With zero effort, advertising fees or commissions, you'll save thousands of dollars. If you've received a letter from us, it means we're serious about buying your home. For more info, visit home.com.au. That's HAUME.com.au.
Is it the best Beechwood home ever made? Possibly, but there's always more to come from Beechwood. Introducing the Caliente, now open for viewing. The Caliente is a multi-level masterpiece of design, innovation and style. Taking inspiration from Palm Springs in California, it's definitely a conversation starter. The team at Beechwood can't wait for you to see it at 10 Simon Crescent, Craigburn Farm. Open Saturdays and Sundays, 1 to 4:30pm. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
If you're after legendary reliability and safety,
Get a Toyota forklift.
Yep, Toyota is still the world's #1 forklift brand, famous across just about every industry for their reliability and safety. That's the Toyota Forklift Advantage. And with great electric options and branches all over the country, find the right Toyota forklift for you at toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Don't just get a forklift. Get a Toyota forklift.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6pm March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
And they could never tear us apart.
Tear us apart this week on 5AA. Big membership drive. We're going to be chatting with the Ports boss, Matthew Richardson, a little bit later this week. Koshi joins us, of course, for his regular segment now. And tonight, Port fans, for those of you that are in love with the new Port Gather Round jumper that was released, you can get them before they're released to the public tonight by listening to Rowie and Timmy G. Koshi, good morning to you.
Yes, good morning. It's my next trip to Alberton is going to be very expensive. My grandkids and daughters are in love with the new supercharged teal, so it should be good. I'm voting for it to stay as our Clash jumper.
Really?
So if anyone agrees with me, I have no say in it whatsoever. But our gurus, our merchandising and marketing gurus are going, well, if it's what the supporters want, we'll have a think about it.
Oh, that's terrific, Koshi. I tell you what, you almost need to wear a pair of sunnies when you look at it. It's so bright. It's like high-vis.
Well, the whole idea of a Guernsey is to make sure you can identify your teammates down the field. There should be no excuses from now on, I don't think.
No, that's right. Hey, Dave, we're happy to be getting behind you guys this week as you try to whip up a bit of a membership drive, as all clubs do. As Will said, we've got your CEO coming on the show later this week. But how's it all looking, numbers-wise down there at Alberton?
Well, we're almost 60,000 members, and that will be the highest membership number that we've ever reached before round one, going to round one of the season. So huge thank you to all our members who have renewed and got behind us and got behind really supporting Josh and the new coaching group coming through. So it's really pleasing at the moment.
Well, they're interesting sort of point to analyse memberships, Koshi, because football memberships would seem to be the most discretionary of discretionary spends. Yet I've got this hunch, and you have the actual intel, that even when people are doing it tough, and the economic data, we'll get to that with you in a moment, tells us that people are suffering from a squeeze. I bet footy memberships are the kind of thing they hold on to and don't give away easily.
Oh, and I think it's a reflection, not just us, but also the Crows and other AFL clubs, the passion people have for their clubs. And I think when you look at 11 games, the value is there for members. But you have no more passionate supporters than a football club supporter. And I know we get grumpy, we get stressed about results and games as we should. But the magic of footy, sometimes we have to step back. And when I get grumpy, I talk to my grandkids and you just see the passion in their eyes, the love of their heroes. You think to yourself, that's what footy is all about.
Yeah.
It brings joy to a lot of people at a time where they might be in a financial squeeze or they're bombarded with these images from the Middle East and they go, just give me my footy for a bit of release.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, I think a lot of footy fans are going to feel that way this week in South Australia when our sides run out for the first time. It's hard to talk economics and finance at the moment without sort of, effectively asking you what you think is going to happen in the war. But if we set that to one side at the moment, the RBA meeting next week, there's a bit more speculation that might be more of a live meeting than I think last time we spoke. And I want to get your thoughts, generally speaking, on if petrol prices remain unstable, what impact that might have on inflation, because there seems to be some debate. Yet history, from my reading, Koshy, of the oil crises of the 1970s, seems to suggest that we can actually get both higher interest rates and the worst effects of inflation altogether, which is to say that in the first instance you can get high interest rates because inflation goes up, and then the Australians' capacity to spend erodes and you get all those other nasty effects a little bit later as well. Is that what you sense is going to happen?
And I'm old enough to have actually gone through that epic oil crisis in the 70s. And I think Michelle Bullock will be keeping that in mind. I know a lot of economists are saying, there's going to be an interest rate increase next week because these fuel prices will feed into inflation. But I think she's going to be a lot more sanguine about that. Remember, it's only 10 days since this thing started. It could finish in another week. Donald Trump was told this would be the equivalent of the 6-day war. That's why he's talking about trying to get out of it quickly and bringing the fury to end everything. I think Michelle Bullock will be sitting there thinking, what's a interest rate increase designed to do is take money out of household budgets so they don't go out and spend and fuel inflation. Well, consumers have nothing to do with the increase in the oil price, but their household budget is being drained by it taking up to $150 to fill up a tank now. So the increase in oil price is almost doing the same job as increasing interest rates. So I think she could be put it on delay and just see how things work out.
Who needs the RBA when you got the Ayatollah Khomeini, eh?
Yep, exactly.
Well, we had, I guess. We're up, number 3 now. Hey, good on you, Koshy. We'll catch you up soon. David Koch, Port Adelaide Football Club Chairman and Compare the Market Economic Director.
Informing Adelaide for 50 years. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy, 26 today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Need a crash repairer you can trust? Premier Panel Services delivers expert care to you and your vehicle.
Police are preparing a report for the coroner after the death of a man at Monarto South last night. They were called to an agricultural facility on Pope Road following reports of a workplace accident. A 24-year-old Strathalbyn man had suffered critical injuries and died at the scene. SafeWork SA is investigating. The White House says the US military is moving to dismantle Iran's missile production infrastructure. It says B-2 aircraft have dropped dozens of penetrator bombs to target facilities buried deep underground. Meantime, the White House has made it clear the US Navy has not escorted any oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz, contradicting a social media post put up by the Energy Secretary. In New York, BBC reporter Michelle Fleury says the post was quickly deleted, causing the price of oil to rebound.
It shows how sensitive global markets are at the moment and how much disruptions to oil shipments still have a big impact on global financial markets, on the petrol pump and potentially on the price of goods going forward.
Meantime, the price of fuel continues to rise in Adelaide. The latest overnight, another 6-cent jump, taking unleaded 91 to $2.20 per litre. The RAA saying there's a big disconnect between wholesale and retail prices, with the spike in oil falling back by $20 per barrel. Fuel analyst Pete Natras says the price in Adelaide is too high.
don't see how this oil price can be just justifying the current retail price in Adelaide. So we'd expect the prices for petrol, they should moderate below, say, $2, so down from the average right now, about $2.17. They should be around that $2 mark.
There are concerns for the safety of members of the Iranian female soccer team who've chosen to return home. At least 7 players and 2 officials are believed to have sought asylum here. The remainder of the squad boarding a flight out of Australia. Foreign Minister Penny Wong telling Today she's worried about the fate of those players.
We know this regime has engaged in brutal treatment of women and girls, but of its citizens. And we've seen that over years. Which is why the government put so much effort into making sure that people did get given the choice.
Research by the Education Union shows just 57% of public school students in SA attend the school closest to their home. The union saying it means 4 in 10 are travelling further than necessary to get to school, fueling traffic congestion across Metro Adelaide during peak hours. The union saying the trend reflects parental concern about ageing school facilities and wants the state government to introduce a minimum infrastructure standard for every public preschool, school and TAFE campus. Police are investigating a serious crash at Morford Vale this morning. A car crashed on Golflands View around 1:30 a.m. Traffic restrictions are in place. Motorists should avoid the area. While in the mid-north, the truck has crashed on the Augusta Highway at Hope Gap. The truckie taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Turning to 5AA Sport.
Get to Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes for the Outlander ES. Drive away from just $39,990.
Good morning, Tom Wren.
And good morning to you as well, Matty. Let's start with basketball. The Adelaide 36ers are only 1 win away from a grand final series after a thrilling 104 to 97 point win. That was against the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix last night at a packed entertainment centre. Bryce Cotton led the way with a stunning 42-point effort. Coach Mike Wells says they're now preparing for a big game 2 in their best-of-3 series on Saturday.
We had a really big win at home, and now we get the opportunity to go on the road and win a game. So we look forward to the challenge, and we know how good they are, and we know what they'll bring.
Well, Stephen Trigg is returning to a big role in football. The former Crows CEO has been announced as the chair of the South Australian Football Commission, replacing Rob Kerrin. Meantime, Port Adelaide is confident Jack Lukosius and Miles Bergman will be okay to play in Sunday's season opener against North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. Chairman David Koch telling David and Will off-field support from the fans has been huge.
Well, we're almost 60,000 members, and that will be the highest membership number that we've ever reached before round 1.
Meantime, Hawthorn has stripped Dylan Moore of the vice-captaincy after the 26-year-old and teammate Connor McDonald were arrested in Arizona in November for trespassing. They're both due to face court later this year. Well, golfers are on the course at Kooyonga this morning in the Pro-Am ahead of the Women's Australian Open, which begins tomorrow morning. Aussies Minjee Lee and Hannah Green are among the favourites to take out the event. European Champions League actions close to full time, and Atletico Madrid is making a mess of Tottenham, currently leading 5-1. Bayern Munich also belting Atalanta 6-0, while it's 0-0 currently between Newcastle and Barcelona. Earlier, Galatasaray beat Liverpool 1-0. And Aussie Talia Gibson's stunning run at the Indian Wells tennis tournament is a big chance to continue. She's currently taking on the 7th seed Jasmine Paolini and has won the first set 7-5. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now having a look at the roads around Adelaide this morning.
Cluedo the Play at Her Majesty's Theatre from 21 March. 2 weeks only. Don't miss out. Book now.
Morning there. Walkerville smash North East Road near Smith Street with delays inbound. Crash at Taparoo to look out for. Victoria Road near Seabourn Road. And a burst water main at Marston this morning. South Road near Everard Avenue. Busy at the moment. Anzac Highway at Ashford. Got road plates in use there just near the hospital heading into the city. And a camera Days Road, Croydon Park. Get a triple points boost on every shop in-store or online at Woolworths. Just boost the offer in the Everyday Rewards app. Ends March 13. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Stuck in traffic? Road trip differently in the Northern Territory. northernterritory.com/drive.
Partly cloudy today and 26, cloudy 23 tomorrow, sunny 24 for Friday, 29 across the weekend. Right now, 20 degrees, 5AA, always Adelaide.
Some swear jars collect coins, but at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, their swear jar collects promises.
Hi, I'm Renette, a designer. I swear to listen to your ideas and help create a functional space for you.
Hi, I'm Rick the plumber. I swear to always be on time and clean up after myself.
I'm Laura. I swear to help bring your thoughts and design ideas to life, just how you envisioned them, or better.
For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
You can rent a little, you can rent a lot.
From Cairns to Canberra, Perth to Port Macquarie, you can rely on Red Spot to provide the perfect ride for your next holiday. We're the only Aussie family-owned and operated car rental company in airport terminals and cities all over Australia with a new fleet and 100% local Aussie service. And right now, Red Spot is giving you spot-on savings of 15% off every vehicle at every location. Book direct and save at redspot.com.au/radio. T's and C's apply.
At Brain Matters Allied Health, support starts with understanding.
They work with adults living with complex neurological conditions, including stroke, dementia, Parkinson's, head and neck cancer, and traumatic brain injury.
The team at Brain Matters Allied Health brings together speech pathology, psychology, and dietetics because brain conditions don't affect just one part of life. Communication can change, swallowing and nutritional needs can change, emotional well-being can be affected too. And it's not just about the individual. Families are supported as they navigate difficult diagnoses and big adjustments together.
You don't need a GP referral to begin. Visit brainmattersalliedhealth.com.au and complete the online form to take the first step at your own pace.
A smashed or damaged windscreen can happen in a heartbeat, but it does get worse if you don't go to your local Complete Windscreens to get it fixed. You could be waiting weeks, and look, that's not on. Complete Windscreens has windscreens and glass for all makes and models in stock right now with 15 technicians standing by to get you back on the road. You don't need to wait. Tell your insurance company you want Complete Windscreens on the job, completewindscreens.com.au. Look for the big red koala.
Hi, I'm Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop. We've been helping Adelaide buyers and sellers for over 40 years. That's why so many South Australians look to us for real estate advice. Right now, in our Toop Vault, we're working with 8,794 buyers in Norwood, 7,809 in Rose Park and 7,751 in Toorak Gardens, all searching for their perfect property in these specific locations. If you're thinking of selling, visit toop.com.au.
Imagine if you could reverse the appearance of skin age in just 2 weeks and support skin longevity. Introducing the future of anti-aging. New Nivea Cellular Serum, powered by Epicelline and 3 types of hyaluronic acid. This advanced formula supports aging skin, helping improve firmness and smoothness fast. Because your skin doesn't need to look its age. Nivea Cellular Epigenetic Serum. Science that works beautifully.
FIVEAA is a proud partner of Gluttony in Rymel Park, your home of the biggest shows this fringe, like Long Way to the Top. Join Dave Gleeson, backed by a full band and special guests for a full-throttle celebration of Aussie rock, bringing the anthems that shape generations to the live stage. Book your tickets now at gluttony.net.au. Gluttony, proudly supported by FIVEAA. Always Adelaide.
Stay informed, get involved. 5AA, always Adelaide.
You can't start a fire.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
10 days away from Election Day, 10 days away from the 5AA Breakfast Democracy Sausage sizzling away on barbecues across the state. Lamb and Rosemary Najobi have put together one of the all-time great sausages. You can get it on your barbecue simply by going to 5AA.com.au to register your interest. All thanks to Najobi, from their award-winning farm to your table. Najobi delivers premium fresh beef and lamb ethically, locally, effortlessly. Najobi.com.au. Ashton Hearn will join us, the leader of the Liberal Party, very, very shortly. But first, an intriguing breaking at 8 this morning. We just received word from the South Australian Police that a story we've been reporting on all morning as a serious crash at Morphett Vale may have more serious undertones than what we first imagined. Jonathan Edwards for 7 News and 5AA is at the scene. Jono, what are police now saying about what previously been reported as a crash at Morphett Vale?
Yeah, you're spot on, Will. What we know so far is just before 1:30 this morning, police and emergency services responded to what they thought was a single car crash here on Gulfland's View at Morphett Vale. We had fireys, we had ambos, multiple crews in attendance, and police were initially calling for witnesses to the crash. But a short time ago, and upon arriving, a significant amount of detectives have arrived on scene, including major crime. So it now appears, as per police, that the injuries that the driver sustained do not align with what was initially considered the nature of the incident or a crash. Now, Southern District detectives, with the assistance of major crime, are currently conducting further investigations. This is a significant police presence. As you can imagine, the SES is here, the cordons are up, and as you can imagine, neighbours and witnesses have been left shocked.
It's very concerning. Yeah, we hear lots of, hoon drivers and stuff around here. So if it was a car accident, it would kind of be, I guess, a bit more settling. Whereas, major crime being down there and all those cops down there, that's a little bit, We'd like to know what happened, just to know that we and obviously our little families are safe. We're a very quiet street. We all stick together.
Yeah, so as you can imagine, this investigation is set to play out today, and with the amount of police resources on scene, you can expect an update, a pretty serious update, in the coming hours.
So, Jono, is the suspicion that the dead person, the deceased person who was in the car, was already actually dead when they were put in the car or something?
It hasn't been confirmed yet that the person is deceased. However, police are suggesting that the person's injuries are not consistent with a car accident at this stage.
Oh, okay, right. So, more details to follow that. But that's
Jono, that's a great report.
Wow.
So let's just go over exactly the wording the police are using here. Initial investigations into a crash at Morphett Vale have discovered injuries on the driver of the vehicle not consistent with the nature of the incident. I've never seen a crash report like that from SAPOL.
No.
Ever.
No. That's bizarre. Yeah, more to come on that. We'll keep you posted. Thank you for doing that, Jono. Jono Woodward for 7 News Adelaide, and also for us here at 5AA in Morphett Vale. Well, right at the very end of yesterday's program, we had the opposition leader Ashton Hearn on for all of 15 seconds on account of the very lengthy interview we did with the Health Minister, Chris Picton, where he repeatedly apologised over his handling, the government's handling of this scandalous case involving the mix-up which mix-up might be too light a word for it, over Stephen King, who died of stomach cancer, and the use of a letter written by another Stephen King. So we wanted to get the opposition leader back in the studio to continue prosecuting that case because, Ashton Hearn, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
You're not dropping this. You are maintaining that the health minister should go, which is always a big call for any political party to say that a minister is in so much strife that they should fall on their sword. Why do you make that demand of Chris Picton?
I think when you're dealing with something that is so sensitive as your own personal patient records, I mean, to put it into context, if your listeners are going to see their GP and they're talking about their own personal medication, you rightly expect that information stays between you and your doctor. You certainly don't expect that could be weaponised against you for political purposes, and that's what's happened in this situation. Particularly the second case, which is Monica. So that happened in November. Monica is a lady from Lyndoch. She had her elective surgery cancelled on multiple occasions. And when she came out to speak about it, the government, in an attempt to shut it down, decided, a calculated decision, to not just provide context as to why one of those surgeries was cancelled, but went so far as to say specifically the type of medication that Monica was on and why that was justification to have an elective surgery cancelled. Now, there's no doubt that, of course, the government of any political persuasion should be able to provide some context. But when you've got a situation where the government, in this case the ALP, are using your specific private medication information, weaponising that against you and fishing it out to journos with not one skerrick of, not a phone call to get consent to provide this justification, that is absolutely wrong. And that's also the second time that something like this has happened. It's not just a mistake. It seems to be a pattern of behaviour, and people's patient information is sacred, and it should be kept as private as possible, not just used willy-nilly to try and shut down political stories.
Is there a fine line? I mean, you alluded to it, because I can think of some instances where we might be doing a story, we might be checking out a breaking at 8 or something. Just trying to think of a hypothetical. Let's say it involves...
But even, Pembo, to use like this exact scenario for Monica, right? So Monica, there was a situation where it was to do with medication, okay? I think that most listeners would think it is reasonable for the government to be able to justify something like that. Because of a medication issue, this was cancelled. Whatever, that's fine. To say then specifically, though, what that medication was and why it was specifically a problem, that does cross a line. Providing justification of saying it's an issue with medication, that's one thing. To say to journos that it is a specific type of medication is wrong.
So that's what happened.
Yes.
Was the specific, which would go to Monica's condition, which is...
yeah, absolutely. But
well, is that against the law then? Is it against the law or against the government's guidelines? Is there a bit of a...
Potentially both. And that's why we need to have this independent investigation. Like, this is very, very serious. And also the Premier, when he spoke about this yesterday, he was asked about a number of things and what would be appropriate. And he said that when it comes to specific explicit details of patient records, including mentioning medications, that they should be used with the strictest of confidentiality. Well, by the Premier's own rule book, the Minister has broken that. It is never acceptable to farm out specific details of medication for political purposes. Never.
Do you think that the government then, whoever that might be after the next election, should codify that kind of approach to handling information and make it so there's no grey area? It's not about community standard or what we should or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
It's illegal.
Yeah, and I think that there are some mechanisms that are already in place that provide some pretty strict guidelines. But sure, if more needs to be done, then it should be, because it's never okay for a political party to use your own personal medical information to weaponise that against you for a political purpose. I mean, there's no world where that is okay. And what I'm concerned about is that this is now a pattern of behaviour. And the minister's come out and apologised. And as I said yesterday, like, good for him. But he's apologised because he's been caught out about it. And he feels guilty about the fact that he's done it. So that's why we do need to see this independent investigation, because we need to find out if it's a pattern of behaviour, and if it is, then clearly things need to change.
Leader of the Opposition, Ashton Hoon, thank you for joining us this morning.
A pleasure. And happy 50th as well.
Oh, yeah. Big day today.
Not to you, Pembo.
Yeah,
I know you're slightly older than 50.
Well over 50.
To double A.
Not that far.
6 years over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
I'll be eligible for a seniors card in 4 years' time. How's that?
Thank you, Ashton.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks for coming in.
8223 0000 is the number if you'd like to jump into the conversation this morning. You can text us on 0448 08 1395. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to get to a question that has puzzled a lot of our listeners this morning with regard to how much fuel you can have on site at your home, how it can be stored, at what point that becomes illegal. And I guess a lot of people are wondering too, at what point it becomes something that voids your insurance policy. The head of the MFS, Jeff Swan, will join us on the other side of the break. Traffic first. If your car battery's dead, call Batteries Direct and they'll come to you anytime with a new affordable battery installed.
Morning there at Walkerville, a smash North East Road near Smith Street, delays inbound. Taparoo, a crash, Victoria Road near Seabourn Road. With Newton, a crash there too to look out for. Gorge Road near Newton Road. Camera, Days Road, Croydon Park. The state election is coming up on March 21. Early voting periods end at 6 p.m. on Friday, March 20. Voting, it's a good thing. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Rowie and Timmy G.
I can tend to overreact. But I'm telling you, Suns, Lions, Swans and GWS, lock in the top 4.
What do you reckon you saw?
Centre square's king, scoring is king, speed of movement is king. If you can't defend a team that gets a run on, which is momentum, you're gone.
Adelaide's only local sports show.
If you can't score, you can't play.
The 5AA Sports Show.
Weekday afternoons from 4.
On 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Who on earth gave them their driving licence? Learn how to merge! Merge! Come on! How many imbeciles can you actually put on one road? 30 kilometres per hour driving Miss Daisy! Use your indicators, yeah? Bloody hell.
Beat the heat. Keep cool with Fix Now, Pay Later options available. Book now. For great service guaranteed, call 1300 Automasters.
Oh, Jesus, hot in here. Can someone pass the Morford air? Oh, that's better.
When the temperature is too hot or cold to bear, reach for the Morford Air, Adelaide's own homegrown family air conditioning company. Morford Air has kept South Australians perfectly comfortable for over 50 years. So when it's too hot or cold to bear, you can always reach for the Morford Air. Look for the bright blue building at 602 Marion Road or visit morfordair.com.au.
Morford Air.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we, the Lynn Andrews team, have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easier for investors and tenants. Everyone is treated with empathy and respect. It's the way we do business. It's the Lynn Andrews way. For residential and commercial property management, we're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
When you're gone, who gets the things that tell your story? Like the classic car you've kept immaculate, the beach shack filled with family memories, or the record collection from your youth. If you don't plan now, it could get messy. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, Donlan Lawyers will give effect to your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com, Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
When you need capability, solutions and expertise for major projects, that's a Kennards Hire job.
Hi, Kennards Hire.
For 24/7 customer support, talk to our experts today.
Kennards make your job easy.
We're all feeling the squeeze under Labor. Power bills are up 43% in 4 years. We have the 6th least affordable housing in the world. And our debt is nearing $48 billion. This election, stop Labor's cost of living squeeze. Vote Liberal.
Authorised by AHIDE Liberal Party only.
30 kilometres per hour driving Miss Daisy! Use your indicators, yeah?
Keep your cool in traffic with ice cold aircon from Automasters. Fix Now, Pay Later options available. Call 1300 Automasters.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
26 after 8, bit going on in Canberra this morning at 9:30 our time, about an hour's time. The Nationals will meet to elect a new leader. Phil Curry reporting it'll likely be between Matt Canavan and Kevin Hogan. Then,
Hogs.
An hour and a half later, Clive Palmer's holding a press conference to announce he will be seeking to re-enter Australian federal parliament at the next election. He will announce...
he spends like Elton John at the Boxing Day sales, doesn't he? He's got ads on the front page
telegraphed his punch
today. Yeah, so that's what he's been buttering us up for his big return. A new deal is coming, it says.
Phil's language is which seat he's going to run for. So I wonder if he's going to have a look at the lower house, maybe?
Surely not.
That would seem to, that'd be seen to be just pouring money down the drain.
White tube grade Queensland seats. A lot of feedback about that Ashton Hearn interview. I got to say, if you're going to have the very worst story of your term of government, ideally you don't want it to happen 10 days from polling day. But that's exactly how I would describe.
It's the worst. It's the worst incident this government's been responsible for by far.
I was just thinking it does a few things for the Libs, and all of them are upside for the Liberals, who desperately need some sort of defibrillation as a political party. Who knows whether this is it or not, but 4 points I'd make. First, they've got the minister on toast. He set a world record for apologising on our show yesterday, so he knows he's stuffed up and he's admitted as much. Second, it plays to Ashton's strengths as the former Shadow Health Minister, which is one of the few Libs who stood out in that role. 3, it gets ramping back into the headlines. And 4, it makes One Nation look irrelevant, because while you've got Corey Bernardi running around worrying about whether gay blokes can marry their chihuahuas, Ashton Hearn's actually talking about something real and meaningful and doing a good job on it.
Well, we might expand on that after 8:30. Jeff Swan, the Chief Officer of the MFS, joins us now on 5AA Breakfast. Jeff, good morning to you. What are your concerns about the widely reported now incidents of people storing unleaded fuel and diesel at homes across South Australia?
Well, petrol and other fuels are flammable liquids, and they present a really significant fire risk that actually causes a bit of concern for the Metropolitan Fire Service. These fuels are highly volatile. They have a risk of explosion if vapours build up due to poor ventilation. If they do catch fire, the flames spread really quickly across liquid surfaces, and they literally are an explosive, fuel. So they produce intense heat, water's ineffective. They are one of the most challenging fires to extinguish. And we are really concerned with people storing fuels in their home. You really should never store fuel inside your house or under the main roof of your house where anyone would sleep. And that includes a lot of our homes with garages that are built under the main roof of the house, because those fires get up into the roof space and spread through the roof of the house really quickly. So it's causing a lot of concern for the Metropolitan Fire Service. How much can you legally store before it becomes an issue for you? So you can store quite a bit. It's 120 litres of fuel at their premises without a licence, providing each container doesn't exceed 60 litres, and it has to be in approved containers. So they are metal containers that are suitable. They have to be clearly labelled. Plastic containers have to be specifically designed for storing fuel and meet the Australian standard. You can never store fuel in food, drink, or any sort of glass container. So make sure it is the right kind of fuel and it is stored in the right area away from your home in, a separate space.
Good advice, Jeff. Thank you for that. We're glad to get you on. Jeff Swan, the Chief Officer for the MFS.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy today, 26 with the 8:30 news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Had a collision? Get in touch with Premier Panel Services and have your car returned to its former beauty.
The investigation into a crash at Morphett Vale this morning has taken a turn. 5AA and Channel 7's Jono Edwards at the scene on Gulfland's View.
A significant amount of detectives have arrived on scene, including major crime. So it now appears, as per police, that the injuries that the driver sustained do not align with what was initially considered the nature of the incident or a crash. Now, Southern District detectives, with the assistance of major crime, are currently conducting further investigations.
And police are asking anyone who witnessed anything suspicious in the area overnight at around 1:30 to contact police. The state government has had a swipe at Liberal leader Ashton Hearn after she urged motorists to fill up the petrol tank sooner than later. Energy Minister Tom Koutsantonis says panic buying is driving fuel shortages.
There's ample supply. This is now a logistics issue, not a supply issue. And I say to South Australians, don't take the advice of Ashton Hearn to go out and panic buy fuel. That's a first-term inexperienced MP making the problem worse. What we need here is calm, stable leadership. It says we have measures in place to make sure that we have ample fuel in place.
The opposition believes any Iranian official who has threatened the country's female football team from seeking asylum in Australia should face the consequences. 5 women have been granted humanitarian visas. It's understood another 2 players and 2 officials are also planning to stay. The remainder of the squad has boarded a flight out of the country. Shadow Foreign Minister Ted O'Brien says if any illegal activity occurred, it should be prosecuted.
Once you are in Australia, it is Australian law that applies. We are very proud about our way of life, which is why we need to protect it. That also means that the same laws, the same behaviours and norms in Australia that we expect of our own citizens, we should be expecting of others.
Outgoing Nationals leader David Littleproud says he's had the best sleep in 9 months after quitting the party's top job. The Nationals party room will meet in about 90 minutes to decide on a new leader. High-profile backbencher Matt Canavan has put his hat in the ring, as has the current Nationals deputy Kevin Hogan. Arriving at Parliament House, Mr Littleproud says it's time for a refresh.
Yeah, I feel good. I'll go and talk to my colleagues and we'll see what happens. But I know the National Party's got deep talent, and we'll get the best leader, and I'll be supporting them 110%. My job now is to go 100 miles an hour behind them, but I just don't have the energy to lead it.
Bundaberg residents believe the worst is far from over as water levels continue to rise. The Burnett River hitting the major flood level at 7 metres yesterday. Hundreds of homes and businesses are likely to go under. Local Brett Lakey says there's much more to come.
Been really ramping up since yesterday, and obviously all that water from upstream from those catchments, Mundubra, Gayndah, that takes a couple of days to get down here. And the Paradise Dam, I think as of yesterday, was at 204% and still rising, and still coming.
Turning to 5AA Sport.
Get to Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes for the Outlander ES. Drive away from just $39,990.
Tom Rennett's looking good for the 36ers.
It's looking great, isn't it, Matty? You're spot on. They've taken a 1-0 lead in their best of 3 semi-final series against the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. That's after a 104-97 point win at a packed entertainment centre. Bryce Cotton, again the star, the MVP with 42 points. Let's switch to football. Port Adelaide coach Josh Carr admits he's probably going to rotate where captain Connor Rozee plays this season. He was used in the midfield in the final pre-season match, but Carr has told Rowie and Timmy G it will likely change again.
He'll play what's best for the team. And, at the moment, last week, against West Coast, that was midfield. Hornets spending a bit more time forward, so we feel that's important, but it doesn't mean Connor won't go back.
Let's go to soccer. Barcelona has rescued a draw against Newcastle in their European Champions League knockout tie this morning. Newcastle took the lead in the 86th minute, but a penalty deep in stoppage time allowed the Spanish Giants a 1-1 draw in the first leg.
And Lamine Yamal is up to this moment as well. Barcelona level the tie right at the end of the first leg. And it is they who will feel they have full advantage before the second leg on their pitch in 8 nights' time.
Yeah, great call. That audio thanks to Stan Sport. In other matches, Bayern Munich belted Atalanta 6-1. Atletico Madrid easily took care of Tottenham 5-2, while Galatasaray beat Liverpool 1-0. And the group stage of the Women's Asian Cup has wrapped up with Chinese Taipei beating India 3-1 and Japan smashed Vietnam 4-0. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now having a look at your drive into work and school this morning.
Cluedo the Play at Her Majesty's Theatre from 21 March. 2 weeks only. Don't miss out. Book now.
Morning there at Walkerville Smash on North East Road near Smith Street. Very heavy delays inbound through there at the moment. Dry Creek a breakdown. North-south motorway into the Port River Expressway and slow at Anzac Highway. Road plates and news just near the Ashford Hospital heading into the city. Pretty sluggish. Cameras Dags Road, Regency Park and Anderson Walk at Smithfield this morning. Get a triple points boost on every shop in store or online at Woolworths. Just boost the offer in the Everyday Rewards app. It's March 13. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Stuck in traffic? Road trip differently in the Northern Territory. northernterritory.com/drive.
Partly cloudy 26 today, cloudy 23 tomorrow, sunny 24 for Friday, 29 across the weekend. Right now, 20 degrees. 5AA, always Adelaide.
At Coles, if you're having an Easter get-together, get a shared shopping list going between friends and family. You'll avoid buying extra and no one will forget a thing. Download the Coles app and make a shared list today.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station, 5AA. Always Adelaide.
I'm Pauline Hanson. Almost two-thirds of South Australians voted against the federal voice to Parliament. Yet the state Labor government ignored your wishes and legislated a costly and divisive voice to Parliament anyway. A One Nation team led by Corey Bernardi will abolish the voice to Parliament in South Australia. That's a firm commitment to you.
One nation, we got the guts to say what you're thinking.
Spoken and authorised by Pauline Hanson, Baronia Road, Brisbane.
Time to Pixter. Around 70% of serious dental problems start in the gaps between teeth. Pixters clean those gaps like floss, only easier. Keep by your toothbrush and use daily. Have you Pixtered today?
You might have heard Dave and Will talking about Matt from Avis Truck Rental Adelaide. If you need a ute, van or truck, Matt has you covered. Moving house? Moving something too big or messy for your car? Or planning a family road trip? Ask for Matt's FIVEAA mates rates. Moving trucks, single and dual cab utes, 4x4s with canopies, vans, even 12 to 22 seat buses, all ready to go. Visit avis.com.au or call 8241 5200.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. For fixed price services, call Precise.
For a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
The most frustrating thing about having your car repaired after a collision can be the wait. Sometimes months. At Premier Panel Services, the wait is one thing you won't have to worry about. We've expanded our workshop and our highly skilled team. It means we're better equipped to deliver an outstanding outcome for you and your car. RAA and MTA approved, Premier Panel Services work with most insurance companies. So ask for Premier Panel Services and get back on the road sooner.
At Nurse Next Door, we believe in making lives better, helping you stay independent at home with the right support in place. As a government-registered support-at-home provider, we'll guide you through your options and help you get the most from your aged care funding. With no lock-in contracts and care overseen by a registered nurse, we'll tailor a plan to suit your needs. To find out more, visit nursenextdoor.com.au.
Thinking about downsizing? Discover Northern Community Residential Village in Penfield. New homes in the latest release are now selling from just $450,000. With no stamp duty, no council rates and no exit fees, it's a smart financial move. Northern Community Residential Village offers secure, low-maintenance living in a friendly community of like-minded over 50s. Embrace your next chapter in style and comfort. Visit ncrv.com.au to book a tour of the display home today.
Star Discount Chemist's Big Brand Vitamin Sale is here. Big brand names at low prices, including Bioglan, Blackmores, Nature's Way and more. Go in store or online to shop. Always read the label and follow directions for use. Star Discount Chemist. How can we help?
There's a place in Adelaide many people don't know about, and it's extraordinary. FIVEAA House at David Roche Gallery is home to over 3,000 exquisite works of art from Europe's finest 18th and 19th century makers. From gilded furniture and porcelain to sculpture and rare decorative art, every room of FIVEAA House tells a fascinating story. Located in North Adelaide and open to everyone to enjoy. Discover one of South Australia's hidden treasures. Find out more at rochegallery.com.au.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
19 minutes to 9. We thought it might be time to take the temperature on the situation in Iran with regard to the most recent intel we've received. Everything essentially since yesterday morning's reporting during our program about a sense of de-escalation in some of the rhetoric coming out of the White House, the idea that the end of the conflict was near, but also something that developed yesterday during the show, Australia's involvement in now extending to one of the wedge-tails flying over there and some air-to-air missiles being provided to one of the Gulf states at request. Michael Shoebridge is the Director of Strategic Analysis Australia and joins us now on 5AA Breakfast. Michael, good morning to you.
Hi, Dave and Will. How are you?
Yeah, perhaps in a moment we'll get to your sense of how close this conflict is to a conclusion and whether it's as close as perhaps the White House would like it to be. But first, there's been an interesting debate about the definition of Australia's contribution to what's going on in the region. Technically, in your view, as someone who studies this, are we involved in the conflict now, or is our contribution entirely on the periphery?
We're now a part of the war, as are the Gulf states. And I know that the government is desperate to say we're not. We're just working with the United Arab Emirates to defend them. But we can talk about what the wedge-tail aircraft that we're sending actually does. And that shows you just cannot quarantine it.
How do you mean you cannot quarantine it, Michael?
Well, so the wedge-tail aircraft is a very sophisticated command and control aircraft that provides early warning. That means it can track missile and drone launches and tracks on their way to places like US bases and the Gulf states. But it can also locate where those things are being launched from. And it's got to be plugged in to the US and Israeli data feeds and command systems, because otherwise it would get shot down. So we're now plugged into the war, and that aircraft will have invaluable targeting information, and the US and the Israelis will use it.
Do you think, Michael, that the response from the Albanese government, do you think that it was informed or rather influenced by the criticisms of the Labor government in the UK, where Sir Keir Starmer was likened to a sort of latter-day Neville Chamberlain, with his initial reluctance to lend any support to the American war effort?
I do, and that's why I think the government, they'll be keen to tell the Americans how valuable the wedge-tail is, and the Americans know that. It was used to target Islamic State fighters, for example. But at the same time, they're keen to tell the Australian public that we're not involved. We're just helping out our good friends, the United Arab Emirates. And that's because they've seen the criticism of America's other AUKUS partner, Keir Starmer, for sounding a bit each way.
Mm. But is the government being a little bit coy about not being more bullish or hawkish about our commitment? Is part of this aimed at not upsetting voters in Balmain, but giving a bit of a nudge, wink, wink to people who watch Sky After Dark that we are actually getting involved?
I agree. I think they're trying to walk both sides of the street, and Starmer has tried to do that, and he's ended up making everybody unhappy, both people in the UK and the Americans. And he's now got into the ridiculous position where he says the UK's participation is wholly defensive, but he's got offensive American bombers, the B-1s and the B-52s, flying from a UK base to bomb Iran. So it's difficult to walk both sides of the street and look sensible.
Yeah.
Michael, the US president said that the war is now ahead of the schedule he originally set out of some 4 or 5 weeks. It's shifted around here or there. Everyone's seems to be scratching their head, though, and wondering what an end actually ultimately looks like, if it occurs, or can it occur in the absence of regime change or the picking of a different supreme leader that the US ultimately approves of. What do you think an end to this war looks like at the moment?
Well, I don't think we should be thinking about it as are particular outcomes achieved and is the American plan achieved. I think it's more, will the war stop? Because remember, the Americans fought the Houthis in the Red Sea. And after a couple of months, after not beating the Houthis, the Americans declared victory and went home. So, President Trump can just look at the situation and say, that's great, I've finished. This is like what he did in Venezuela. But the consequences of the war, even if he does that, will ripple on for a long time. Even the economic trouble will ripple on for months.
That's really interesting analysis, Michael. Michael Shoebridge, the Director of Strategic Analysis Australia, on our involvement in the... Well, do we call it a war?
I mean, it's
special operation.
It's a war, isn't it?
That's how you get around having get Congress to support it.
That's
Not
right.
a war.
That's not a war.
Yeah. Special operation.
That's what Putin tried that trick, didn't he? It was just a special operation in Ukraine, isn't it?
Right.
Everyone's suddenly the woke language of warfare.
Right.
All right, let's spin the wheel, shall we? The wheel is in the 5AA Breakfast Studio. If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, it means we have a Care Alert smart watch to give away. Love Care Alert. The smart watch, revolutionary device in the world of care and looking after people and giving families peace of mind and alerting. The number is 16, which is 1941, which means we're looking for someone who's turning 85 this year or has already turned 85 this year. 1941. 1941, of course, a day that will live in infamy, December the 7th, the attack on Pearl Harbor. Brought the United States into that particular war and Japan, for that matter, as well. They'd already been fighting in China. Things got real for Australia from that point on as well. 1941, 8223 0000 is the number to call, and you can win yourself that Care Alert smartwatch. Magnificent product. We need these in every household in South Australia. Everyone will feel much better about your loved ones, and it keeps people independent as well.
Peace of mind. It's peace of mind, but you can still go about your business knowing that if you have a bit of a tumble, the Care Alert people are there to help. You'll have an ambulance on its way.
All right, let's check traffic. Car battery dead? Call Batteries Direct and they'll come to you anytime with a new affordable battery installed.
Morning there. Really big delays at the moment with a smash at Walkerville, North East Road near Smith Street. Heavy delays inbound through there. Breakdown to look out for Dry Creek, the north-south motorway into the Putterver Expressway. Got road plates in use at the moment. Anzac Highway at Ashford, just as near the hospital there as you're heading into the city. That's pretty slow. And a boost one at Marston, still getting sorted. South Road near Everard Avenue. Camera, Port Royal Expressway, Gilman. MG's mega celebration. Get the MG3 from $20,990 or the ZS Vibe from $22,990. T's and C's apply. See your MG dealer today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
When others play politics, I take responsibility. When others talk, I act. If you want strength, integrity and action, you know where to find it. Vote 1 Stephen Polaris, Real Change SA. You've seen my record. You know I don't back down. If you want strength, integrity and action, vote 1 Stephen Polaris, Real Change SA.
Authorised by Stephen Polaris, Real Change SA, 70 Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, SA 5000.
Car battery died? Call Batteries Direct Adelaide now and we'll come to you now. Batteries Direct at direct prices. Call 1300 558 174. For affordable on-the-spot battery replacement, call Batteries Direct.
Do you get behind the wheel and feel annoyed sometimes, frustrated, angry even? You might even wonder why people can't indicate anymore. Or maybe it'd be just nice to have a destination that you actually look forward to. It sounds like you might need a holiday. To hit the road out on a wide open highway, looking across boundless territory, or winding through world-class national parks and overflowing waterfalls.
I love the NT, and every time we do this ad, I think we've got to head back up there again. You can set up camp under a billion stars with no one else around. If this sounds like you, your best bet is to head north, where vast open roads let you leave the rage behind. Road trip differently in the Northern Territory. Head to northernterritory.com to find out more.
What do elbows, knees, fists, head clashes and boots have in common? Well, they can all knock your teeth out. But not if you have a Pearl mouthguard. It can even be made in the colours of your team. Plus, your Pearl mouthguard can also be fully claimed on your private health cover, which your dentist can help with. Play it safe. Ask your dentist about a Pearl mouthguard. Search Pearl Dental SA for more.
Soft drinks, sport drinks, fruit drinks, energy drinks. The sugar in any sugary drink is sugar your body doesn't need. It can get turned into fat, including toxic fat around your vital organs, which can lead to cancer, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. Our bodies work best on water. It's sugar-free, fat-free, and if you get it from the tap, virtually free. Find out more at livelighter.com.au. A message from Preventive Health SA.
There are many reasons why Steinborner Automotive is well worth a trip. With over 400 cars in stock across 10 yards in Gawler, Barossa and Clare. including Steinborner Ford in Clare with a great selection of the best value new, demo and low kilometre Ranger, Everest and Mustang. Along with outstanding service from our award-winning staff, you know it's well worth the trip to Steinborner Ford. View our whole range of Ford at steinborner.com.au.
The state election is on March 21. Early voting period is from March 14 until 6 p.m. March 20. Voting, it's a good thing.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Right on 8 minutes to 9.
Well, last night at the Adelaide City Council's regular meeting, Councillor Aman Abrahimzadeh moved unsuccessfully to get a bit more clarity around what exactly is going on with candidate for the seat of Adelaide, Kieran Snape. You may have seen a couple of stories in the Tiser and the Sunday Mail about the fact that he's had a few, let's call them, interactions with police. We're certainly not suggesting any criminal conduct on his part, but Mr. Snape has said that there was one incident where he said that he was filming police while they were taking away some intoxicated or unruly people outside the railway station, and he was had his details taken by SAPOL. No awareness of what the other incidents involving Mr. Snape and SAPOL were. We've got Aman on the line now. Aman, good morning. Now, obviously, you didn't get your way last night. The motion that you put didn't get up. But what's your concern here? And obviously, this guy's running for Parliament. Is there a sort of right to know element to this in your mind?
Yeah, good morning, guys. There absolutely is. There absolutely is. And I think one of the points that was raised last night against me was that there's an election coming up, there's timing around this, and it's essentially a political campaign or a smear campaign. And I can answer that and say, no, it is not, because the incident, according to Councillor Snape himself, the incident took place about 12 months ago. And had I known about this 12 months ago, had this been reported 12 months ago, I would have done exactly the same thing 12 months ago. The reason why I've done this is, it was made public in the advertiser, but also let's cast our minds back to last year. There was a court order as a result of the Court of Disputed Returns that the 4 Central Ward councillors were essentially disqualified or pushed aside, and we essentially went to a by-election to elect 4 new Central Ward councillors. Now that damaged our reputation, and the confidence in us by our community decreased. Now, I talk to residents, business owners, property owners, stakeholders within the City of Adelaide, and that had a huge impact on them. So for this to be published now, it raised significant concerns, and I had a number of people that contacted me and said, what is going on here? And to be honest with you, I didn't know what was happening, hence my motion through the chamber last night. And I must say that the majority of the councillors didn't feel the same. But for me, it definitely raised questions, because that article talked about 3 bits of correspondence, whether they're emails or letters, that were exchanged between SA Police and Council. I don't know who those letters were written to. I'm not across those details. None of it has been made public. And so, the first question is, well, why is SA Police, a law enforcement agency, writing to the council? Because if it was an expiation or a fine, I'll be happy to put my hand up and say I've been driving for over 20 years. I've had speeding fines. I've had parking tickets. And every time there has been a speeding fine or an expiation, I go to my letterbox, and that's where the speeding fine is. I don't go to the council office and pick up my expiation.
Yeah.
There's no communication through the council channels. So that's essentially my concern, and that's what I was trying to get clarity on.
Yeah.
Which hasn't been the case.
Yeah. No, sounds like it will remain a mystery. Aman Abrahimzadeh, thank you for joining us. We'll catch up again soon. Thanks, Aman.
Now, our first caller through, having been born in 1941 and winning the Care Alert smartwatch this morning, is Helen from Westbeach. Congratulations to you, Helen. Hey, Helen, we wanted to ask you, having grown up in the sort of the 40s and into the 50s, what's the thing you miss most about that era in Australia?
Oh, I don't know. I guess the pace of life has got very fast, what it was at that time. but I'm quite relaxed and enjoying life as it is, so everything's good.
Well, that's good to hear.
Where did you go to school, Helen?
School of the Air and then boarding school.
Oh, the School of the Air, wow. So were you a country girl?
I wasn't actually School of the Air, I was correspondence. School of the Air came a little bit later.
Oh, so correspondence, you had to... yeah, because School of the Air wasn't set up till like the 1950s, I don't think, was it?
Younger members of my family were School of the Air. I was correspondence, yes.
So which country town were you living in?
I wasn't living in a town. I was on a property
Okay.
out from Wilpena.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Beautiful part of the world. But you've been a city girl
Lovely.
most of your adult life?
Yes, absolutely. Got
Beautiful.
married and moved as we did in those times.
Well, Helen, thank you. And congratulations. You're the lucky winner of a Care Alert smartwatch from our great friends at Care Alert.
Lovely to chat with you, Helen. Congratulations to you. Love that Care Alert. Wonderful product. They do a terrific job. Before we go this morning, we should have a look at the fuel situation because everyone is, at the moment, on a pretty regular basis. Better to be a member with RAA Road Service. So the cheapest you'll find unleaded this morning that we've been able to find it with the RAA app is the Yugo at West Hindmarsh. That one is at $1.99.9. If you're in the northeast, you can get it at a pretty decent price, $2.09.5. Everywhere else, you're looking at $2.13.9 this morning. I just was checking the oil barrel price because there's been some speculation from US news sources in the last 2 hours about Iranians attempting to mine, that is, put anti-shipping mines in the Straits of Hormuz, which would be devastating for shipping opening up anytime soon there. The market hasn't really reacted. Brent and West Texas crude both at about $87 a barrel at the moment, so still down significantly from what we saw on the weekend, so hopefully it stays that way for everyone who needs to fill up. Diesel-wise, the cheapest, $2.18.9, the Yugo West Hindmarsh as well. Majority between $2.23.9 and $2.35.9. There is a ship at Port Adelaide that's unloading diesel as we speak.